Inside throw, touchdown! Kansas City, a 3. City wins the game.
Welcome into The Drive with Carrington Harrison.
Back-to-back best sports talk hosts as voted on in the Pitch magazine.
Live from the Van Studios. Here's C-Dot.
Let's do this. Another day, another dollar, another edition of The Drive. You were listening to The Drive on 96.5 The Fan, 96.5thefan.com, and also the Odyssey app. My name is Carrington Harrison. Very excited to be here with you. I have just got back from WrestleMania. I will tell you all the stories. I went to night 2 of WrestleMania. I have plenty of thoughts for those of you that watch wrestling. We will do that coming up in just a bit. But for those of you that don't watch wrestling, we are getting you ready for the NFL draft coming up in about 15 minutes. We are going to be joined by Matt Miller, who does fantastic work from ESPN. We also are going to be joined by Trent McDuffie coming up in the 4 o'clock hour. We are very excited to get you ready for the NFL draft. Round 1 starts on Thursday later this week. All right, before we get into the open of the show today, I need you guys to do me a couple of favors. Number one, I need you to listen to The Drive every day at 2 o'clock right here on 96.5 The Fan. And I need you to tell one friend to check out the show. You know what? I would very much appreciate it if you did that. So what I want to do is a little bit different than what we usually would. Rob, I need your help for today's open. So I am going through ESPN, getting ready for the show today, and they presented a scenario for the Chiefs to trade up. Now, we've heard some rumors, and Matt Miller's going to talk about that coming up in just a little bit, that the Chiefs have been a team that is believed to be interested in moving up in the NFL draft. I would imagine that a move up for the draft would consist of them taking an offensive lineman. You usually don't find starters in the back half of the first round. You're probably going to need to trade somewhere in the teens or early 20s if you want to take an offensive lineman. So I thought this was a very interesting trade idea floated out there for the Chiefs, and I want to run this by you because you are a lot different than me. You love draft picks, want to hoard draft picks. You want to take as many cost-controlled players as humanly possible. Now, I understand the logic on doing that, but I'm usually the draft picks are like prospects in baseball. Yes, you would love to see all of them make the majors, but sometimes the goal of that prospect is to go get you what you desperately need. Will Myers helped the Royals in 2014 and 2015, even if he never played for the Royals, because he was such a prospect that you could use it to go get something that you need. That is the idea. This is the trade proposal that was thrown out there for the Chiefs to move up to go get their offensive lineman, and I'm curious what you think. The Chiefs in this scenario would pick 22nd overall. You can decide what offensive lineman you would take at 22nd. I'm not too concerned with arguing who that could potentially be. In this trade idea, the Chiefs would then give up. They would give up their first-round pick, so that team would move back. They would give up their second third-round pick, not the Titans pick, but the 95th overall pick, and they also would give up a future fourth-round pick. So not in this year's draft class, but next year's draft class. So they would give up their first-round pick, their own third-round pick, and a fourth-round pick next year for the ability to move up around 8 spots in this year's NFL draft. Rob, is that something that you would be interested in? Because you are usually not someone that wants to trade picks. I would make this trade. If you feel like you can come up with a long-term solution at left or right tackle, I think it justifies the cost. I also think the Chiefs are in a very unique spot because they have not one but 2 third-round picks. If I'm the Chiefs, one of those third-round picks I am trying to convert into a player that I know is a starter. So maybe you use that for an established veteran player. We are probably out of that zone. Or you need to be considering using one of those 2 picks to move up in the draft and get what you desperately need. If you were telling me that you could turn L'Jarius Sneed's trade and you can now move that into a guy that can play left or right tackle for you for the next handful of seasons, and we'll see if he's a player that you want to sign to a long-term deal, I think that is a trade worth making. I would pull the trigger on this deal. In fact, I think that's one of the best case scenarios for the Chiefs. You move up in the draft, you still keep a third round pick. You'll figure out next year's pick selection when you get there. But I'm much more of a wheeler and dealer when it comes to the draft. Where are you at on this, Rob? Would you move up? Would you trade one of those third round picks to go get an offensive lineman?
Hard pass. And here's why. It is not the idea, because I think on the concept of what you're saying, we agree. Franchise left tackle, potential long-term solution at right tackle. That is the price you have to pay to go get that player. So the draft board, the compensation sheets, all the stuff you look at, I think that is the right number. Here's why I wouldn't make that deal. And we can talk to Matt Miller in about 10 minutes about it. We will have draft analysts on all week. Bink will be on the show. Mike Renner from CBS. We had Trevor Sikkema from PFF. Do you know what all of these draft people are saying? It is not a great offensive tackle draft. There's the kid from Missouri, Mimbo. He's going to be gone in the top 10. There's just no way the Chiefs can wheel and deal to get him. After that, it is a group of flawed offensive tackle prospects. That doesn't mean one can't hit. That doesn't mean they're all going to fail. It's just a group of flawed players. Whether it be Joshua Simmons, who's battled injury, whether it be the fact that they're a lot of short-armed guys, so they project more as guards. Like, they are an imperfect group. There is no, oh, that guy's a day one, lock him in starter. So to give up that level of draft compensation for a guy that might work out at offensive tackle, but also might be Kingsley Suamataia, part two, a guy that, hey, it's not quite working at tackle, but he profiles out as a good guard, seems like too high a price to pay for a player in this draft. On the whole, I agree, but when you put it in the spectrum of 2025 draft, no thanks.
This is why I push back on your idea and people that share your thoughts. With where the Chiefs are usually going to select, now they're not going to the Super Bowl every year, but they're a team that is favored to win their division every year. They win a playoff game. They go to AFC championship games. We are talking about the Chiefs pretty routinely selecting in the bottom 6 every single year. Let's cast a decent sized net here. I don't know if you're ever going to find the offensive lineman prospect that you were talking about. If you're selecting 27th overall, you are not getting the cream of the crop. Even if this season you did look at it like being one of those premier offensive line drafts, you would probably have to package one of your future first-round picks in order to move up and go get that kind of guy. This is one of the negatives, and there are very few negatives with it. These are one of the negatives of being as good as the Chiefs are, that you're always going to get the second, third, fourth, fifth offensive lineman prospect that is there. Where I think the Chiefs are in a very unique situation this year is you know that you have a redshirt year available because you went out and spent the pick on Jalen Moore, because you have Jawan Taylor on essentially a one-year deal. You are not pressed at offensive line. So if you take a guy like Joshua Simmons that tore his ACL this year that was unable to finish the season, you got a full year of rest, recovery, learning the system with essentially no pressure to go out and start from day one. That's not going to be the scenario that they're in next season. They are going to need to figure out something at right tackle at a minimum. So why not get a head out on it? So that's why I'm looking at this class right now. I also think that Joshua Simmons would be kind of one of those players that if he had stayed healthy last year, we're probably not having this conversation because he goes 13-14. He's the left tackle for Ohio State. But he has the injury. There's some injury questions. He moves down just a little bit, and this is where you can maybe get him for 80 cents, 85 cents on the dollar. I am very interested in the Chiefs trading one of their 2 third-round picks. I'm not interested in moving both of them, and if you would, and preferably, you would keep the Titans' third-round pick and then move your own third-round pick and handle it that way, because I agree with you. There maybe isn't that offensive line prospect that you would give up 66 for, but there is that one that you would give up the one a little bit later in the third round. I found this draft trade idea that was thrown out by ESPN to be pretty interesting. The Chiefs would move up to get one of those kind of second-tier offensive linemen. They would move up to get a Kelvin Banks. They would move up to get a Connerly Jr. out of Oregon. They'd move up to get a Joshua Simmons. They would give up their first-round pick, their own third-round pick, and they also would give up a future fourth-round pick to go do it. I'm with it. We'll talk to Matt Miller here coming up on the other side about how aggressive the Chiefs would potentially need to be to go get their offensive linemen if that's what you want. It does feel, as we get closer and closer to the draft that is coming up in, 3 days now, it does feel like this thing has been narrowed down. It feels like they're either going to go tackle or it feels like they're going to go edge rusher, potentially D-tackle. They're going to go somewhere on the line of scrimmage. Coming up on the other side, we'll talk to Matt Miller about this and see how he feels about the line of scrimmage prospects as the Chiefs are heading into the draft. We are 3 days away from round 1 of the NFL draft. Keep it right here. It's The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison, your home for the best food takes in KC.
Regular old American nachos. You know, I don't need jalapenos with mine, just chips, cheese.
Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this. 96.5 The Fan.
If you've been tired of being out in the bad weather or you're just looking for a more stable industry, our friends over at Centric can offer that to you.
What's great is they allow you to work through your schedule. You still need to have the income coming in from your current job while looking ahead to your new career. They have in-person classes, virtual classes. They can get you trained when it's best for you.
Make it easy. Call our buddy Russ Mondry. He's been with Centric for over 16 years and will guide you through every step of the process. If you're looking for that new career, wait no longer. Go to Centric.com.
Whether you're digging a pond, clearing brush, grading property, or doing demo, Foley Equipment, your local Caterpillar dealer, is your one-stop shop. Buy or rent, Foley Equipment has the machines you need to get the job done. And right now, Foley has 0% financing on new cat skid steers, mini excavators, and compact track loaders. Stop by any Foley Equipment location today or visit us at FoleyEQ.com. That's FoleyEQ.com.
Underdog just became one of the best places to make entries during the basketball playoffs with their Extender promo. With the Extender, you can play your way into increasingly bigger boosts each round of the playoffs. Start a playoff series by using your Game 1 boost and continue boosting each subsequent game to unlock the next one. The longer the series, the bigger the boosts. Underdog is now available to play in Missouri, and their app has over 100,000 five-star reviews and millions of players. All you have to do is download the app and choose whether a player will go higher or lower on one of their stats, and you can mix and match across other sports like I like to do. Download the Underdog app and sign up with promo code BOB to unlock a special offer of up to $1,000 in bonus cash when you make your first deposit. That's promo code BOB. Must be 18 and over and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/extend.html for details. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org.
Hi, Mia here at the winnings desk of the Missouri Lottery. So, I wanted to write a thank you note for every dollar Missouri Lottery players have given to Missouri and education, but that would be 8.4 billion notes. So to save a little time and a whole lot of paper, here's just one. Dear every single lottery player in Missouri, thank you for helping us give $8.4 billion to Missouri and education. Sorry, my trumpet's in the shop. The Missouri Lottery. Winners welcome and play responsibly.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6812. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 five-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com
or call 800-575-6812. That's 800-575-6812.
Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Drafting the perfect roster means getting the right balance of power and performance. Season after season, Ego Outdoor Power Equipment has drafted a truly innovative lineup of cordless tools that has the power of gas without the noise, fuss, or fumes. Plus, the same battery powers all Ego essentials, from mowers and blowers to chainsaws and trimmers. It's all power, zero compromise. Check out the Ego lineup of spring must-have tools at egopowerplus.com.
Did you know your skin is the largest organ of your body? Huh? That's why you should shower with Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash instead of plain old bar soap. Love your skin by super hydrating it with vitamin B3 and glorious notes of vanilla and shea. Did you know that my super hydrated skin is the second largest organ of my body? The first is my heart. Old Spice. Men have skin too. Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash. 24/7 renewing moisture. With daily use.
Some people follow the rules, but where's the fun in that? I'm Soraya, and this is Rule Breakers, the podcast where we celebrate the rebels, the risk takers, and the ones who make their own way. Every week, I sit down with the boldest voices in sports, entertainment, and beyond to talk about breaking barriers, defying expectations, and rewriting the rules. No limits, no apologies, just real talk. Follow and listen to Rule Breakers with Soraya, an Odyssey podcast available now for free on the Odyssey app and wherever you get your podcasts.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios. This is your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5 The Fan.
Welcome back into the show. Text line 913-586-7965. There was a proposed trade that was thrown out there on ESPN. The Chiefs would move up to go get an offensive lineman, Josh Connerly Jr. I'm not really concerned with the prospect as much. That's kind of Matt Miller's job. We're going to talk to him momentarily. In this scenario, the Chiefs would obviously trade their first-round pick to move up to go get him. They would trade their third-round pick, so it's near the back half of the third round, and a future fourth-round pick. I am for it. I think the Chiefs need to find a long-term option at left and right tackle. And I do think a little bit that fans want this perfect prospect that the measurables test out and a perfect injury history. That player is just not available at 31 for Kansas City. You find your left tackle, really, I would say 3 ways in the National Football League. You get lucky the way that Philadelphia did, and they spent the 7th round pick on a player that's turned into one of the 5 best left tackles in the league. You are bad, and you get the perfect left tackle at the right spot, or you spend a lot of money in free agency to go find it. So I want the Chiefs to be aggressive, move up in the draft, and go find one of those prospects, and I think they're in a really unique spot that they have essentially a redshirt year. Whoever they draft in the first round, if it is a tackle, will not start for this upcoming season. So draft them, let them learn the playbook, get them acclimated to the NFL game, and then you are ready to go in 2026. That's how I would handle the position. Let's talk to the expert, though. We're very happy right now to be joined by a friend of the show, Matt Miller. You can catch him on ESPN. He will be on the Saturday broadcast, rounds 4 through 7. You can also catch the simulcast on ESPN. Matt, how you doing, my man?
I'm well, bud. It's been too long. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely, man. Let's just start with this. What do you make of this tackle class? And we can remove Mimbu. He's not going to be available for the Chiefs, and Will Campbell. Those guys are not going to be available. But I'm looking at those kind of second-tier offensive linemen. I'm looking at a Connerly Jr. I'm looking at a Simmons out of Ohio State. I'm looking at a Kelvin Banks. What do you make of kind of that group of left tackle?
Yeah, I mean, you're right. Will Campbell's going to be gone. Armand Mimbo's going to be gone. Kelvin Banks is going to be gone. I know, like, this is one of the most overthought players in this year's draft, and it's funny. We're a couple days away. Everybody's scrambling. Like, oh, you know what? He's going to go a lot earlier. He's going to go out earlier. I don't think he gets past Miami at 13. And so to your kind of your point in the intro there, like, yeah, you can want a left tackle all day. You can need a left tackle all day. These dudes don't just grow on trees. They go early in the draft. Look at the best left tackles in the NFL. Most of them were first-round picks. Very rarely do you find, you know, a guy who's outside of the first round and ends up being good. Jordan Mailata is the only one, and he was a 7th-round pick. Right? He's the only starting left tackle in the NFL that you would say is above average, and it's because he was an international pass-play player. The rest of the NFL, left tackle, first-round picks. Most of them are early first-round picks. Deion Dawkins, I would say, another exception, round 2 guy. But for the most part, you got to get him early. I don't see this as a year to where, unless you're willing to get into the top 15, where you could say, all right, we're getting a long-term left tackle. Otherwise, you're back to what they've done the past several years, which is drafting a project. They've done it in the 2nd and 3rd round. You're drafting a project and hoping they work out, which is exactly what they did last year with Kingsley.
That just feels like such a crapshoot to me, especially at that position, and you just gave the stats. I mean, the odds of you finding your starting left tackle in the third round and him developing just seem so low to me. And with where Kansas City usually selects, it's just never going to be that perfect time to find your left or your right tackle. So that's why I'm looking at this year when you got a little bit of a runway where you were not requiring them to start. This just feels like a good time to kind of take that dive.
I agree with you, especially because you have the extra pick from L'Jarius Sneed. You have that extra pick at 66. The scenario you floated out there, 31, 95, 133, like that's going to get you pretty high. That's a lot of draft capital. It really is. So if you're willing to give that up and say like, okay, like, you know, we're going to give up 3 picks because this is a team that's perennially in the Super Bowl. We're comfortable giving up those picks to go up high. I think that the question is, where are you trying? Like, where can you actually get to? I've heard Dallas is maybe interested in sliding down from 12. I've heard San Francisco is interested in sliding down at 11. But interestingly enough, those are 2 teams that could snipe your guy. San Francisco could take Kelvin Banks and be very happy with it. San Francisco brought in Josh Simmons for visits. Dallas has done a ton of work on offensive linemen in this class, especially guys that could potentially kick inside the guard like Membo, like Banks. So it is tough. And if you're in that group that says, hey, we got to go get a tackle, what you really don't want to have happen is the Jets to take Armand Membo 7, because after that, it's going to get real expensive to come up to the board to get Kelvin Banks.
Can you see a scenario of where any of those guys fall in the draft? Like, is there a possibility that at 31, the Chiefs have a choice, that they could take Joshua Simmons, that they could take Connerly? Or do you think in order to grab that player, they're going to have to move up?
Connerly could be there at 31. And I would say, like, there's a line for me between the other guys and Connerly. He's good, and I think he's a fringe first-round player. So he could be there. And what's interesting about him is he might actually have the best, like, prototypical size and athletic ability for a left tackle. Just the production wasn't always there. You know, he is an ascending player. This dude was a running back in high school. He really only started for 2 years at Oregon. So he is somebody that's still learning. His in-season improvement this year was really, really good, but he is still climbing that ladder a little bit. So he could be there at 31. Josh Simmons is interesting, Carrington. Coming off a patella injury that happened middle of October, people hear knee injury, they think, oh, it's okay. A patella injury is much different than an ACL. It is a full-year injury. It's much more like an Achilles tendon. He is not going to be cleared until August at the earliest. So that is probably a player that you're redshirting. On tape, he is one of the best left tackles in this class. On tape, he might be the best left tackle in this class. But interviews have been very so-so with teams. He was a player who was at the Senior Bowl, not as an invitee, not as a participant. He was at the Senior Bowl on his own dime, meeting with teams trying to get ahead of some of the, quote-unquote character stuff that comes out about players. So he is a little bit of a gamble. I don't know that the Kansas City Chiefs, given some of the issues as of late with draft picks, are in position to take another first-round gamble on a character player. I personally wouldn't feel comfortable doing that if I was working for Brett Veach, but every team sees this differently.
Right now, we're joined by Matt Miller of ESPN. You can catch him on Saturday's broadcast, rounds 4 through 7. They're also doing a simulcast on ABC. Matt, it seems very likely to me that the Chiefs are going to go line of scrimmage with their first pick. We talked about the offensive side of it. Let's go to the defensive side. Tell me who you like from the D-end perspective, a guy that can get after the quarterback, or if they want to go D-tackle and put somebody next to Chris Jones, who are some possible options at 31?
Yeah, it's a good defensive end class. I have 6 guys with a round 1 grade. I think the issue, again, for Kansas City is 5 of them are going to be gone by the time you come on the board. Abdul Carter's gone. Jalen Walker's long gone. Shamar Stewart, Mike Green, Mike Hill Williams. I think those guys are long, long gone. Donovan Ezraku from Boston College could be there. He is not a Steve Spagnuolo guy because he's light. He does have good length. He has really good speed. But I think from a body type perspective, looking at him, the way that he needs to add the power to his game, 6'2.5", 248 pounds, even with 34-inch arm length, which Spags loves, 6'2.5", 250 is not getting it done for Steve Spagnuolo unless he's really changed his philosophy after watching Nolan Smith in the Super Bowl. So he's a player that could be there at 31. I don't think he's a great scheme fit. I look at the defensive tackle class and think this might be the spot. The Mason Graham from Michigan is going to be gone. I think Walter Nolan from Ole Miss is probably gone. He's the best pass rushing defensive tackle in the class. If you could play him next to Chris Jones, that'd be amazing. He's probably gone. Derek Harmon from Oregon, a ton of upside. Kenneth Grant from Michigan, more of a one technique nose tackle type, but with a lot of athletic ability. I think Harmon and Grant are the two guys that could realistically be there at 31.
Where do you think the best potential value is? Because you've mentioned some of those offensive lineman candidates that could potentially be off the board. You also mentioned about pass rusher. People love this DN class. Veach likes this DN class. Those guys might not be there as well. Let's say the Chiefs are really thinking best player available. We're not going to pigeonhole ourselves for need. We're really going to go BPA, best player available. Who do you think that could be? What position group do you think it could come from?
Yeah, I mean, we could be looking at a wide receiver, depending on what happens early. It could be a player like Luther Burden from Missouri. It could be Emeka Egbuka from Ohio State. I think you could realistically be looking at Maxwell Harrison, the corner from Kentucky, or Malachi Starks, the safety from Georgia. So the thing about this class is it's so flat. Like the player that you have ranked 12 and the player you have ranked 40 are kind of the same. And so that's where it gets tricky. If, I rank guys 1 through 600, but what happened this year was player 11 and player, 35 are kind of the same dude, really. So it is very flat in that regard, which makes, best player available is very much open to interpretation. Like I would love for Trey Amos, the corner from Ole Miss, to be there. You talk to some teams, they think he goes early 20s. You talk to others, they think he goes middle of the second round. So it's hard to find that consensus this year.
You have been one of the few people in the national media that have been carrying the flag for Luther Burden. I've watched a lot of Luther Burden even back when he was at East St. Louis. He is absolutely electric with the football. I do think that people are overthinking it a little bit. Maybe he's not the prospect that he was heading into his junior year, but now there's a chance he could not be a first-round pick. People are overthinking a very special player in my mind.
Happens every year, man. And you and I have known each other a long time. I really committed this season to not buying into the BS. If I'm not going to get caught up in a 40 time that doesn't translate to tape, I'm not going to get caught up in a lack of production that's out of your control, and I'm not going to get caught up in production that wasn't generated in real football terms. So with Luther Burden, the numbers slipped this year. The offense wasn't as good. The play calling wasn't as good. Brady Cook got hurt. The run game wasn't as good. It's a lot of reasons. Now, some of that on Luther. Did he maybe throttle down and make some business decisions once he realized that he wasn't going to get those Heisman numbers? I think that's absolutely possible. Can he throttle back up when he's getting paid millions of dollars in the NFL? And I think that's an easy thing to do, is to get a guy to level back up, because you've seen him do it before. Some do it as a freshman, some do it as a sophomore. I've been around that program a ton. I've talked to his coaches, position and head. I don't get it. I think he and Kelvin Banks are the two guys in this class where it's just like we almost over-evaluate people, or we get fatigued because they've been good for so long. It happened to Nick Bosa. Like it happened to Myles Garrett. It happened to Derek Stingley Jr. Like people just get tired of talking about players, so we start to over-evaluate them. And Luther is absolutely the poster boy for that this year.
Right now, we're talking to Matt Miller here for a couple of more minutes. I have to get your thoughts on the player of this draft, Shedeur Sanders. To me, this whole draft kind of hinges on how he's evaluated by the league. Some people think he could go 9 to the Saints. Some think he could fall to the Steelers at 21. This could be a long day or a great day for Shedeur Sanders. How do you evaluate him as a prospect? What seems likely of a range for him to land?
Yeah, I like Shedeur. I had him as my number 25 overall player. There's some good things to his tape, his accuracy, his toughness, his ability to he rarely misses his guy. Like when he makes a decision to throw the ball, it's going exactly where he wants it to go. I love that about his game. On the other side of it, he's a little bit small. He doesn't have a big arm. The scheme that he played in was a lot of, it was almost like backyard style. It wasn't a lot of really developed routes and combos. His day, he could go 33, he could go 30 or 3. Like he could go from the New York Giants at 3, and he might go in the second round. So he is a fascinating player in this draft just because that range is massive. And I think a lot of that's going to come down to interviews and how well he handled those one-on-one situations with teams, to where, do you feel convicted about him? Are you comfortable handing over, like we have to be with every quarterback, are you comfortable handing your franchise over to this young man and saying, all right, for the next 3 to 4 years, we're going to go as far as you can take us? The Chiefs fans know this better than anybody. when you get that pick right, it's a glorious thing. And when you don't, a lot of people get fired and you have to start over.
When you watch Shedeur, who does he look like to you? Who does he remind you of? Let's say best case scenario. Let's say the things work out and he hits his absolute ceiling as a prospect.
Yeah.
Who do you think he could be?
Jared Goff, Geno Smith. That's who I see. Like best case scenario, guys that can beat you from the pocket without a ton of pocket movement, but are just really, really accurate and they can play on time. Like realistically, it might be closer to Teddy Bridgewater, who I was a fan of. I liked Teddy. He had some injuries in the league that held him back a little bit. He had a couple good years. And so much of this with Shedeur, it does depend on what he has around him. The New York Giants have a decent offensive line. They have Malik Neighbors. Like they've got some pieces there. If you go to a team that has some pieces in place, it's much better than, if you go to the New Orleans Saints where Chris Olave is your best receiver. He missed half the year. Shaheed, their other good receiver, missed half the year. They don't have a tight end. Their running back's getting older. So I think scheme and fit are going to matter a ton for him.
Let's talk about the running back here for just a little bit. I absolutely love this running back class. There's about 12 to 15 names that if you're a college football fan, you've heard of before. Obviously, you got Jensen and Hampton at the top, but you got Cam Scatterbo. You got Dylan Sampson. Again, you got just so many guys that you've heard of if you're a college football fan. I'm looking at the Chiefs somewhere in that third to fourth round range. I think they can find themselves a really quality starter that instantly improves their room and probably becomes their opening day starter.
Yeah, I'm with you. Please add some speed, Brett Beach. Please add some speed. That is what this team needs. It's what this team has lacked. As much as I'm a fan of Pacheco and Kareem Hunt, it's obvious that the offense missed having some juice back there. So, to your point, I don't think you have to take one at 31 because I do think you can get a Dylan Sampson in the third round. You could get R.J. Harvey or Jordan James or DJ Giddens, Damian Martinez. Like, there are good players that are going to be available late in this draft. I even think Jaden Blue for Texas, who is a great receiver out of the backfield. He has a ton of speed. He's going to be there in round 4, round 5, and be a really, really good player. So this is a draft where there's a lot of speed guys at the tailback position, and I would hope that one of them will be a Kansas City Chief in a couple days.
I feel that same way about wide receiver. I'm just really big on, I think what's happened over the last couple of years is Mahomes is still the same, but the parts around him have desperately changed. And sometimes I think people think that explosive plays come from play design. No, they come from having explosive weapons around you. And last year you alluded to it with the running back room, and they obviously had injuries when it came to wide receiver. I mean, I would love for them to take Burden if he fell, or Emeka Egbuka if he fell in the draft. I would love for them to go that way at 31, but I'm thinking just based on how they usually draft that they're probably going somewhere on the line of scrimmage.
I'm with you. I would love for it to be Luther Burden. I'd be happy with a tight end, like a Mason Taylor at that spot. I'd be happy with a speedy edge rusher. But when we get back to how this team normally drafts, I'm with you. It's probably going to be a defensive lineman, probably going to be a defensive tackle, unless one of those offensive tackles falls. But, I don't know, man. Last time they lost the Super Bowl, they got aggressive, and a lot changed in a hurry. And we didn't see that through free agency. So maybe we see it in the draft, with 4 picks in the top 95. Maybe we see some aggressive movement. I had heard 2 weeks ago that they were at least interested in moving up. The last time they were interested in moving up was the Rashee Rice draft when no one would trade with them when they wanted to move up. So we will see what happens.
Last thing here, call your shot just a bit. There is always that one thing that just has everybody stunned. We saw Cleveland Farrell go top 5 when no one had him projected that high. Michael Penix last year goes 8 overall. There's always that one thing that dominates the headlines of the draft. What could you see that being? Because you mentioned it earlier. I mean, if we saw Shedeur go off the board in the top 5, that is it. I know he's a quarterback prospect, but you've mentioned there's such a wide range of what it could be. What do you think that just jaw-dropping moment could be on Thursday?
Well, folks defined it from last year. I wrote an article 2 days before the draft and said, I'm hearing Michael Penix to Atlanta, but that's crazy. It won't happen, right? And then it happened. And so it was one of those moments where, I chickened out. I should have just ran with it instead of hedging. My one for this year, Ashton Jeanty goes 5 to the Jacksonville Jaguars.
That is Matt Miller joining us on the show. You can catch him on ESPN. You can also catch him on Saturday's broadcast, rounds 4 through 7. It will be simulcast on ABC. Matt, man, seeing your rise in the media has been really cool, man. I'm happy for you, man. I know you've put the work in. Really excited to see your stuff over the weekend, man. Thanks a lot for popping on today.
Yeah, I appreciate you, Carrington. Thanks again.
Absolutely. That's Matt Miller joining us on the show today. Really happy to get a chance to catch up with him. All of our draft segments here on 96.5 The Fan are brought to you by Powell Exteriors, J&M Displays, and also the Salvation Army. So shout out to the sponsors that are sponsoring all of our draft content. Be sure to come out to the Landing on Liberty on Thursday as we are going to hang out and watch round 1 of the NFL draft. Ashton Jeanty, number 5 to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Rob, if that happens, I think you might leave the Landing in Liberty. Like, I know we're supposed to be there through the entire first round. I'm going to be there from start to finish. Something tells me if a running back goes number 5 overall, you will just be home, and you'll probably be home by pick 11 if that happens. I could see Jeanty going really high. I think Jeanty makes a lot of sense either in Las Vegas. I think they're at 7 off the top of my head, and also number 10 to the Bears. I don't see a scenario in which he falls past the Bears. I think the Bears run to the podium to take him. They have been so in on trying to give Caleb everything he needs. You got him Ben Johnson. You took the wide receiver last year. I think they take maybe the best skill position player on the board if he's there at number 10. I think that's the worst position we could see him. Obviously, Matt Miller thinks he could go 5 to Jacksonville.
I'll tell you this. It would not stun me if he goes 5. Not because of any of the things you said, because a poor-run organization like the Jags that has nothing but flaws all over that roster, wasting a top 5 pick on running back, I wouldn't leave. I would walk around to every table at the Landing in Liberty and be like, hey, did you see how stupid the Jacksonville Jaguars are? Let's chit-chat about it. Top 5 for a running back in this economy? What are we doing?
Let me ask you this. How good does he have to be to justify top 5? Let's say that he turns out to be Christian McCaffrey, for example.
Probably not.
Okay.
I also don't know that he can be Christian McCaffrey.
No, I was just throwing that out there.
Liam Cohen as his head coach, who says Duval all weird, and Trevor Lawrence as his quarterback. I don't think that's happening.
One thing I picked up from Matt Miller, and this is to be expected because of where the Chiefs select, you are not getting a premium edge rusher prospect at 31. You are also not getting a premium offensive line tackle at 31. If you likely want to find either of those, you are probably going to have to move up. I think Veach said this a couple of days ago. Tell me if I'm wrong. That they have like 12 to 14 players pegged as first-round grades. Well, if that's the case, then they're not there at 31. So you either can move back in that scenario, which sometimes can be a challenge. You probably are going to have to hope that a quarterback is on the board, and then you move back in that scenario. Or you're maybe going to have to take a player that's kind of in your range. I mean, I think that's what happened with Felix Anudike-Uzomah a couple of years ago. They had a range of about the players that they wanted to take. At that point, moving back, you potentially run the risk of not getting a player that's in your range. They took one of them in Felix, and that was their first-round selection. I could see it being a very similar feel for this one, whether it's you go offensive line, maybe you go D-line, or, I think to his point, if there is a running back that is falling and you can get Egbuka or Burden at 31, I do think they're in a very, very interesting spot if they can go in a couple of different directions, whether it's on a skill position player like the two I just mentioned, or they're going to end up taking somebody on the line of scrimmage.
Maybe this is us saying the same thing, just differently. I think if the Chiefs, if it gets to 31 and the Chiefs are on the clock, I think they're trading back because they're going to look for the trench. So they're going to look for a skill position guy at 36, 37, 38, 39. I think if you get to whatever time it will be in Liberty and we're sitting around, the Chiefs are on the clock at 31 and all the guys in the trenches are gone, I think the Chiefs are moving out of that pick. Where I think if the Chiefs are going to do what Matt Miller thinks they're going to do and maybe target one of those premium edge rushers, maybe get one of those quality interior defensive linemen like a Derek Harmon, maybe they jump up for their left tackle, whether it be Joshua Simmons, Josh Connerly, whoever. I think if you see the little draft noise, bum, 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 when that noise bings on Thursday night, it's because the Chiefs are moving up to add a player in the trenches. I don't think they want to add a skill position in round one. They just haven't operated that way all offseason.
All right, coming up on the other side, we'll get to our NBA Minute. We saw 8 playoff games yesterday, and the general manager for the Dallas Mavericks just continues to talk about the Luka trade. And at this point, I would just stop. Because every time you talk, you usually make it worse than you did before. We got Vern coming up in 20 minutes. Keep it right here. It's The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Okay, so I'm gonna let you in on a little secret. Wendy's has this new Cajun Crunch chicken sandwich. And to be honest, I'm kind of crushing hard on this Sammy. It's packed with bold Cajun flavors and topped with crispy onions for a satisfying crunch. All on Wendy's iconic spicy chicken sandwich. It's honestly kind of my dream sandwich. I hope it likes me back. For a sandwich you'll love, gotta be Wendy's. Open till midnight or later.
Limited time only at participating U.S. Wendy's. Hours may vary by location.
Gain Super Flings are here to take your laundry to the next level.
Talking about Gain Super Flings. Super-sized laundry packs. These things are huge. Super fresh, super clean. Gain Super Flings.
Gain Super Flings laundry packs have 4 times the Oxy cleaning power and 3 times the Febreze freshness versus Gain Original Liquid.
Super fresh, super clean. Gain Super Flings.
Gain Super Flings for next level laundry.
BetMGM is making your next golf tournament winner bets more exciting with Second Chance. What's Second Chance? Ever bet on your favorite golfer to win a tournament only to see them miss the green? Well, with BetMGM's Second Chance promotion, you'll get your stake back in cash if your tournament winner bet finishes in second instead. That's right. Simply bet on any player to win a scheduled golf tournament during a promotional week. If you're right, you win. But if your pick finishes in second instead of first, you get your stake back in cash. Watch your favorite players go for the win all season long and bet knowing you'll get your stake back if they finish second. Log in today and make your picks with confidence with BetMGM. BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsibly. See BetMGM.com for terms. 21 plus only. Kansas only. Existing customer offer. Subject to eligibility requirements. Rewards paid back in unrestricted withdrawable funds. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel.
Red Hot Car Giveaway. Only at Harris, Kansas City. Saturday, April 26th, one lucky winner will win a brand new Red Hot Lexus ES350. Harris is giving away $2,500 in free play every 15 minutes from 7 p.m. till 10:45 p.m. At 11, 2 winners will receive $5,000 in free play, and 1 person will win $10,000 cash. And 1 person drives home a brand new Lexus ES350. Visit our website for full details. 21 or older to gamble. Know when to stop before you start. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Don't let clogged drains slow you down. Call Hamilton Plumbing, Heating, AC, and Rooter today for our $79 mainline drain clearing special. The pros at Hamilton will inspect your drains with video camera technology to pinpoint exactly what is needed to clear those clogs and help prevent expensive drain repairs. The expert technicians at Hamilton are ready 7 days a week to solve your problem the right way, the first time. Over 40 years experience and more than 8,000 5-star reviews ensures your peace of mind. Visit callhamilton.com for details, terms, and conditions. License number 2025-11121.
Listen up, Gen Xers. Elizabeth Banks here. The recommended age for pneumococcal pneumonia vaccination has been lowered to 50 and older, even if you're healthy. It's up to us to lead the way. We've done this before. Music videos, fanny packs, even the World Wide Web. So let's do it again and get vaccinated. We're at over 6 times greater risk for pneumococcal pneumonia compared to adults under 50. Gen X, this is our shot. Visit vaxassist.com to schedule. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Will new tariffs impact small businesses? Rising costs and economic uncertainty can hurt your bottom line. But with Swish Funding, your business can stay strong. We offer fast, flexible funding solutions from $10,000 to $2 million for working capital, cash flow, and more, and as little as 24 hours with no collateral needed. If your business earns at least $50,000 per month and has been around for over a year, you could qualify today. Go to swishradio.com and use code RADIO. SwishRadio.com, code RADIO.
Testing.
We're live from Chick-fil-A.
This is Grant.
And this is Laura.
And a little thing we love about the Chick-fil-A Smokehouse Barbecue Bacon Sandwich is that sweet bun.
And that chicken filet was perfectly crispy and soft at the same time.
And that Smokehouse Barbecue sauce, it's a lot of fun. And the brown sugar bacon definitely had a little bit more pizzazz. Also, the mac, one of the all-time greats. Man, I'm getting hungry.
Order the Smokehouse Barbecue Bacon Sandwich and our Coca-Cola on the Chick-fil-A app for a limited time. Real guests paid for their testimonials.
Now,
Now, your big ideas don't have to wait. They have everything they need to come to life because Dell Technologies and Intel are creating technology that loves ideas. A technology that loves expanding your business and evolving your passion. We push what technology can do so great ideas can happen right now. Find out how to bring your ideas to life at Dell.com. Welcome to Now.
This afternoon, expect sunny skies with a high of 71.
Weather brought to you by Robert Half. Our recruiters' expertise and award-winning AI will find you the skilled candidates you want. At Robert Half, we know talent. Visit roberthalf.com/talent today.
You're listening to The Drive with Carrington Harrison on 96.5 The Fan and the Odyssey app.
All right, coming up in just a bit, we're going to be joined by Josh Vernier. We're also going to get back to the NFL draft coming up in a bit. I went to WrestleMania this weekend. I'll tell you guys about how it went. I know some of you are wrestling fans, and you know what? It was not that bad. I would not consider myself to be a wrestling fan. In fact, I didn't know who a lot of the characters were yesterday, but I did have a good time. I'll tell you guys about that coming up in a bit. But you guys know I am passionate about the NBA. And we usually don't talk a lot of NBA, mostly because I don't think you guys want us to talk a lot of NBA, but it's the playoffs. So we're locked in for the next 2 months of the NBA playoffs. We had 8 postseason games this weekend, but the top story in the league still continues to be, even in the middle of the playoffs, even months later, is still the Dallas Mavericks traded Luka Doncic to the Los Angeles Lakers. It still doesn't make any sense. And every time that the general manager talks about it and tries to explain it, it is worse than the previous time. Listen to what the general manager of the Dallas Mavericks had to say when, you know how it is, your season's over, you do a press conference at the end of the year. We're not interested in talking about anybody else. We want to talk about one of maybe the biggest trade in the history of the NBA. Listen to what their general manager said. This is unbelievable. He said this.
I did know that Luka was important to the fan base. I didn't quite know it to what level, but really the way we looked at it is, you know, if you're putting a team on the floor that's Kyrie, Clay, PJ, Anthony Davis, and Lively, we feel that's a championship caliber team, and we would have been winning at a high level. And that would have quieted some of the outrage. And so unfortunately, we weren't able to do that. So it just continued to, you know, go on and on.
I don't know Nico Harrison's bosses. If I was his boss, I would just say, we're not talking about this anymore. No comment. No comment. Next question. Every time it comes up, you didn't understand how your fan base felt about their best player. It's a player league. And he's one of the 5 best players. And you traded him in the middle of the night. And you only talked to one team. You didn't think that this was going to go really poorly for you? This doesn't seem very well thought out. Every time he has spoken on this, it has been worse than the time before. So just stop. We're not talking about this anymore. We want to talk about the players that are on this team, that are on this roster. We are moving forward as an organization. Luka is not a part of our future anymore or our present. He is the past. We're done talking about this. That's how I would handle it. But they have made things so untenable in Dallas. I don't know how Nico Harrison, I don't know how you can trust him to run your draft coming up. I just don't know how you can do it. Maybe he's taking arrows for the ownership group, and that happens sometimes. I don't know how you trust that person. I don't know how you trust him to run the draft for you. He has messed things up so bad, I don't know if you can allow him the opportunity to undo the mess. It is bad down there in Dallas. All right, we're done talking about teams that didn't make the NBA playoffs. Rob, hit the music. Give me 1 minute to talk about a team that did make the postseason. Hit me, Rob. Are the Lakers in trouble? I would say of all the things to overreact to the first games of the NBA playoffs, I would say it's that. The Rockets and Warriors series went how a lot of people predicted. The veteran experienced team strangled the inexperienced team and put the clamps on them defensively. The Lakers didn't come out with anywhere close to the energy to win a game, and they got dominated and blown out. And what I do like about this Minnesota Timberwolves, and I think it's a lot because of Anthony Edwards, they don't seem afraid of the Lakers or afraid of the moment. You would never think that you would put yourself in a must-win game. But if you are the Lakers, game 2 is now a must-win game for you. It is your season. You do not advance if you don't figure out a way to win coming up tomorrow night against the Minnesota Timberwolves. Rob, I think that's the story of the first 2 days of the NBA playoffs. It's the Lakers losing home court and losing game 1 to the Timberwolves.
I mean, I like the NBA. I don't like the NBA the way you like the NBA. I like to kind of lock in that second round, that third round, because I think that's when the games really tick up and excitement and it gets like crazy. The Timberwolves and Lakers was the only intrigue so far we've had in round 1. The Thunder super took care of business. The Cavs took care of business in their game 1s. We expected that. Nuggets and Clippers was a really fun game because of the comeback.
Yeah, it was definitely more than that. I thought the Knicks and Pistons was a good game.
I think it was a great quarter that was fun to watch the Knicks run away, but overall, look at the final score of that game. If you just keeping an eye on, let's see if the Pistons can steal home court. It didn't look like they could.
No, they did not.
It looked like the Knicks found another gear and the Pistons were just watching them play basketball for a little bit, which is sometimes what happens in the first round of the playoffs. The superior team finds their level, keeps home court, dominates in 5, and then we really crank up in the second round.
Yeah, I thought in the Pistons and Knicks game, it became very obvious what team has played in the postseason before and what team hasn't. Like in these NBA playoff games, your ability to close matters. And the Pistons were up 12. They're on the road. That Madison Square Garden crowd, they get rocking. And the Knicks just went out there and just pop, pop, pop. They had a 21-0 run in the NBA. That just does not happen. The Knicks, a very impressive game 1 win. I think the Lakers and the Timberwolves has been the most intriguing game. We'll see how the rest of it shakes out. Let's get back to local. We'll get back to the Royals coming up at the top of the hour. Josh Verner is going to join us today. So we've moved him around. He's not going to be on the show Friday because of the draft. We'll have him today as the Royals have an off day. So we'll get you ready for their series against the Colorado Rockies. So I asked Rob to do this. I asked Rob to go back into the vault. And I asked him to get the reaction of various draft picks that the Chiefs have made. What did the pundits say at the time when they made the selection? So let's start with number 1. Rob, you know what? Let's start with running back because we all know that's your favorite position. This was the draft reaction when the Chiefs selected Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
With the 32nd pick in the 2020 NFL Draft, the Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs select Clyde Edwards-Helaire, running back, LSU.
Sometimes you just have a hunch. Clyde Edwards-Helaire was a fascinating running back for them this past season. How about this? Despite only 14 grabs his first 2 years for the Tigers, he had a school record 55 catches for 453 yards. And clearly Clyde Edwards-Helaire is a car guy because he said, if you're a car guy, I'm like a Pirelli P0 tire fresh off the market. That's my thing. My lifespan is pretty long right now. Only 370 carries in his 3-year career. Boog, we talked about it. What a fit for the offense Andy Reid and company like to run.
Well, it's definitely a scheme fit. You think about Clyde Edwards-Helaire last year in the LSU offense. It's going to be a very similar offense with Patrick Mahomes. He can cut inside and outside as far as hiding behind those big offensive linemen. He's only 5'8", but if you look at his change of direction, the ability to get in and out of his cuts, and then the area where I think he's going to be big and pay huge dividends for the Kansas City Chiefs, catching the football out of the backfield, tough runner, but he's a 3-down player, and this is what you have to have in today's NFL. Not just a runner inside or outside, but you better have somebody that can catch the football. Now, he needs to work on his pass protection, which I'm sure Andy Reid and Brett Veach knows, but they got a really, really good football player in Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
I'll say this. I'm sure you guys have an example of a player, and I'm missing it, and that's fine. I still don't really understand how Clyde Edwards-Helaire didn't work. Like, thinking of the prospect that he was leaving LSU, the offense that he joined, who was around him, and especially the start that he got off to. I mean, rookie year, Clyde Edwards-Helaire was a pretty decent player. Now, some of it is just injuries. He just was never a fully healthy player. He wasn't as nearly as helpful out of the backfield as I thought he was going to be, and he didn't have that kind of home run swing and ability to kind of change the game in that capacity that I thought he was going to have. But I know that some of you have you don't take a running back in round one under any circumstance. I don't think that drafting Clyde Edwards-Helaire in the first round was a wrong thing to do. You look at the team that he was on, the pedigree, like everything seemed to line up, and you had made a really, really smart pick in the offense. And for whatever reason, it just never came together, and he just never came anywhere close to the promise. It's funny because I would say he is one of the few Chiefs draft picks that I can remember that really peaked in game one. Remember that move that he made against the Houston Texans? You're thinking, oh boy, how did the league let the Chiefs get this player? It just never really got much better than that. I would say that the best game that he had, at least off the top of my head, was that game he had on the road against the Buffalo Bills. I felt like they won a game because of Clyde Edwards-Helaire and how effectively they run the ball. But just thinking back to that draft pick, it just never really came together for him in Kansas City. Coming up on the other side, we'll be joined by our Royals insider, Josh Vernier. The Royals won yesterday. We'll talk to him about it next. Keep it right here. It's The Drive.
Hey, it's Cole Reagans from the Kansas City Royals. You're listening to The Drive with CDOT on 96.5 The Fan.
Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-518-3899. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-518-3899. That's 800-518-3899. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Hey, it's NBA champion Bill Wennington. It's the best time to be a basketball fan. All the thrills and the playoff drama, done sitting on the sidelines and ready to win some real cash? Check out Pick 6 from DraftKings. When it comes to basketball payouts, DraftKings Pick 6 posterizes the competition, including prize picks. Hit all your picks and score higher minimum payouts on Pick 6 Plus. Even more cash if you outscore the competition.
Download the DraftKings Pick 6 app now and use code 965. That's code 965 for new customers to play $5, get $50 in Pick 6 credits. Better payouts, bigger wins. Only with Pick 6 from DraftKings. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Must be 18 plus. Age and eligibility restrictions vary by jurisdiction. Void where prohibited. One per new customer. Bonus awarded as non-withdrawable Pick 6 credits that expire in 14 days. Limited time offer. See terms at pick6.draftkings.com/promos.
Men, is good enough really what you want with your sex life? This is Jeff for Heartland Men's Health, and if erectile dysfunction is making a bad bedroom experience for you and your partner, you should call us because you want your intimacy to be fantastic, both for you and the one you love. At Heartland Men's Health, our treatments have success rates of well over 90%. And because we're a medical practice focused on men's sexual health, we can offer many treatment options and even combine treatments to find the right one for you. Which means if you're like most of our patients, we can likely get you performing like you haven't in years. So make an appointment and make a change from good enough to really good. Your initial visit is just $99 and includes blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 844-447-6600. That's 844-447-6600. Or go to heartlandmenshealth.com. We have 3 offices to serve you. Heartland Men's Health, a Promenic restorative health
When I started watching my favorite team as almost Andy Reid, I couldn't get out of the parking lot due to my new popularity. Renner Garage Door has an offer that's just as popular. $100 maintenance check to keep your door running smooth. Get a free replacement quote. Renner carries top brands like Delden, Amar, and LiftMaster. Family owned since 1956. Call or visit RennerDoor.com. Renner forward and back.
RENNER. Drafting the perfect roster means getting the right balance of power and performance. Season after season, Ego Outdoor Power Equipment has drafted a truly innovative lineup of cordless tools that has the power of gas without the noise, fuss, or fumes. Plus, the same battery powers all Ego essentials, from mowers and blowers to chainsaws and trimmers. It's all power, zero compromise. Check out the Ego lineup of spring must-have tools at egopowerplus.com.
Did you know your skin is the largest organ of your body? Huh? That's why you should shower with Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash instead of plain old bar soap. Love your skin by super hydrating it with vitamin B3 and glorious notes of vanilla and shea. Did you know that my super hydrated skin is the second largest organ of my body? The first is my heart. Old Spice. Men have skin too. Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash. 24/7 renewing moisture. With daily use.
Royals coverage sponsored by Park & Go, the best deals on airport parking.
Step up to the plate and hit a home run with Casey's best airport parking. It's Park & Go. Great service, low price, zero hassle, open 24/7, and all spots are covered. Don't get caught looking. Strike three. Reserve your spot today at bookparkandgo.com.
Your chance to win $965 plus an autographed Chiefs helmet as part of our draft contest when we broadcast live from the Landing in Liberty during the first round on April 24th. The Fans Draft Party. 96.5 The Fan. KFNC FM and AM. HD1 and HD2 Kansas City. An Odyssey Sports Station.
Welcome back into the drive on 96.5 The Fan, 96.5thefan.com, and also the Odyssey app. Usually we are joined by this guest on Friday, but this week is going to be a little bit different with the NFL draft and with the Royals having an off day today. Today feels like the perfect time to have Josh Vernier join us on the show. Vern, how you doing today, my man?
I'm very well. How are you, C-Dot?
Doing great. Vern, when you were 10 years old, who was your favorite wrestler?
1993. I may have just – now, is Stone Cold around in 1993? Because that's when I checked out, was the Attitude Era. Hulk Hogan was always my guy. I was the classic blonde-haired white kid out there.
I never knew this. So you weren't like a Shawn Michaels, The Rock. You were out at that point.
I was take your vitamins, say your prayers, and once they stopped doing that, man, I was out. And that was around the time I realized, oh, this isn't real, and it kind of bummed me out.
When did the baseball bug get you?
Baseball did pretty early, first via cards, and then video games, and then making your first trip out there, and then the strike hit. And the team I followed growing up in Michigan, the Tigers sucked once the strike hit and continued to suck for the next 20 years. So, you had to pick a team B, and I went with Frank Thomas and the Chicago White Sox, mainly because I was just such a big, big Hurt fan.
I mean, in hindsight, we don't give baseball players nicknames the way that we used to. Like, there's nobody with the nickname like the Big Hurt.
The Big Hurt. No, and that came from Hawk Harrelson. It normally comes from the announcer. I think Rex is the one that deemed Bobby Baseball. I think he's the one that gave Bobby Witt Jr. that nickname. So, Boobalicious, I think HUD gave Chris Bubich that nickname as well. So it normally comes from the TV announcer or color commentary. And, HUD did that for the Big Hurt, or excuse me, Hawk did that for the Big Hurts. We need HUD to come up with some more.
Right now, we're talking to our Royals insider, Josh Vernier. Vern, do you want to start with the one game they won this week or the 6 games that they lost? I'll let you decide.
Let's start with the positive. I do think that there is something to take away from that game yesterday. Going into it, I thought we were going to learn something about the boys. right? A 6-game losing streak, a 10-game road trip. No matter what happens, it comes to an end. We get to go home and enjoy our own beds and homes. Coming up tomorrow, oh boy, Tarek Skubal, a relentless Detroit Tigers team, and a lot of mistakes. Royals made mistakes. Micah Waka was good. He wasn't perfect. The defense was good. It wasn't perfect. Offensively, the bullpen, it was all good, but nothing was clean. Nothing was easy. Nothing was pretty, but they found a grimy way to snap the losing streak. And I think for a team that, even though it's a lot of the same names and the same faces, it is as Denny's told us, has told you over the years, every year is different. I do think that this team is finding its 2025 identity because, as we've seen early on, to duplicate what they did last year, where 3 guys carry the offense and 4 guys carry the pitching staff, that's a pretty tough ask and almost impossible to replicate.
I know it seems very obvious and very straightforward, but yesterday was the blueprint. If this team can just score 4 runs consistently, this season, I know, very limited sample size. They are 7-1 in games in which they score at least 4. They are 2-13 when they score 3 or fewer runs. It really seems like it's that simple. They gave themselves a chance because they scored at least 4 runs yesterday.
And the only reason they scored 4 runs is because Detroit gift-wrapped a 2-base error for Bobby Witt Jr. to lead off the 8th inning, or else Royals lose that game more than likely 3-2, and we're talking about a 7-game losing streak, and people are diving off the bandwagon left and right. Yeah, it would be great if they could go out there and score 4 runs every single game. We were saying the same thing about the 2014 team, and they really were unable to do that. When they did, they won. Maybe this is what we're in store for in 2025, but boy, I refuse to believe that the offense is the worst in the American League. I refuse to believe that Bobby, Vinny, and Salvia are going to be this bad in the clutch situations. I tend to believe that the final 85% of the season, offensively, is going to be much better than what we've seen in the first 15%.
Right now, we're joined by our Royals insider, Josh Vernier, going through some of the top storylines as the Royals have an off day. Let's talk about MJ Melendez. Are you surprised that they pulled the plug this early?
Yeah. If you would have told me at the beginning of the season that it would take 23 games for them to pull the ripcord on MJ, of course I would have been surprised. Disappointed as well. Hopefully encouraged by Drew Waters. Hopefully this can lift him to a strong 2025, getting a small vote of confidence. But, of course, the move is reflective of a young man that has lost his confidence and that obviously can't do anything offensively, can't hit anything outside of that, straight, here it is, fastball. Surprised that MJ's in Omaha, but agree with it. It's tough to disagree when the guy is 4 for 47 to start off the season. Yes, he's playing some solid defense. Maybe you'll have a slight drop-off there, but shoot, man, look around the diamond. The Royals are sacrificing defense for the possible offensive boost everywhere you look right now. They're sacrificing quite a bit to get anything offensively, and that's why you're going to see Mark Canha in the lineup every single day moving forward. You should see Maikel Garcia in the lineup every single day because these are the only guys that are shoehorning their way into the lineup on a daily basis, the only guys that are putting something of note forth. So Q has some confidence putting their name in the lineup. But, Royals have, 11 home runs in the first 23 games, by far the worst in Major League Baseball. To get rid of a guy in MJ Melendez, one of the few guys that has true home run power, it's certainly not something you're going to celebrate. You need him back. You want a good MJ. A good MJ makes this team a lot better.
Do you think there was a particular breaking point with MJ? Was this a scenario where they simply had to hand the fans something because the fans are starting to go restless with the offense? Was this something that was done to send a message in the locker room? You're right. I am surprised that they did this in the first month of the season. Usually the Royals display a little bit more patience than they did with MJ Melendez. I don't disagree with the decision at all. I think he needed time to clear his head down in Omaha. But just given the track record of this organization, I am surprised that they did this so quickly.
You dive into the numbers and you'll see exactly why. Sure, confidence is the main reason. If a kid's still confident, it's tough to work through issues at the big league level, but at least you're showing up to the ballpark with the expectation to win and how can I contribute to a win. But if all you're thinking about are your offensive failures, well, it's going to start affecting you on the base paths, defensively, in the dugout, in the clubhouse, and that's going to permeate, and this team obviously doesn't need that. But you dive into the numbers, and you'll see the opposition outside of Max Fried, the lefty that gave up the home run to MJ Melendez, who's one of the best pitchers in the sport, so just thought I could sneak a 95 past MJ if I throw it right down the middle. Well, you saw after that home run against Max Fried, MJ didn't see anything straight. And he wasn't going to see anything straight because the stats say he hasn't picked up a knock all year against a breaking ball. So, the report was out. It was an automatic out in a history of, we've seen a lot of automatic outs in our time in Kansas City. And, MJ early on 2025 was at or near the top of that automatic out list of the past 15 years.
You and I both love the movie Major League. Is it time for Hunter Renfroe to be checking that locker to make sure that he doesn't have the red tag? I mean, if they're sending these kind of messages early on to MJ, I don't know why they wouldn't be considering doing it to Hunter Renfroe as well.
Yeah, Dozier, Renfroe, whatever. Yeah, all of them, sure. Chris Stratton as well. I don't know what they're bringing. I don't know what they're putting in the bucket to help this team accumulate victories. Listen, they're making money, and, that's an uncomfortable knock on the door for J.J. Piccolo, telling John Sherman, hey, the contract, the money that you are going to pay Chris Stratton, it's going to be for nothing. We're kicking him out. Hunter Renfroe, you're going to pay him for nothing as well. But yeah, Chris Stratton often is put into the games. Give me 6 outs. Give me 2 innings. Just throw strikes. I really don't care if you give up runs. Just get us through this god-awful game. Give me 6 outs. And he doesn't. He gives you 5, and then you have to bring in Daniel Lynch, and then he's burned the next day. So Chris Stratton's not earning his roster spot. And Hunter Renfroe, you thought, even if he doesn't hit consistently, there would be the occasional extra base hit. There would be the occasional great throw from right field that helps you win a game, a defensive move, a defensive play that helps you win a game. His defense is well below average. His arm has made 1 play all season. His arm has made me shake my head more than it's made my eyes expand. So, yeah, Hunter Renfroe, Chris Stratton, I don't know what they bring to the team right now.
I have not watched a second of Rockies baseball. I mean, probably since Troy Tulowitzki was in Denver. All I know is that they're terrible. Is there any other analysis that we need for this series other than you cannot lose 2 of 3 at home to a team that is 4-17? They're already 11.5 games back in their division, and they've already fired their hitting coach. You cannot lose 2 or 3 to that team.
And their best player just went on the IL in Ezekiel Tovar. I agree. And you're at home. If the Royals are who we thought they were or who we hope they're going to be, you win your series at home. If you're a playoffs or bust ball club, if you're one of those second-tier teams we talked about on Friday, yeah, you take 2 of 3 from Colorado, even if they have their all-star pitcher going on Wednesday, even if they have their top prospects going in the finale on Thursday afternoon, top prospect that nobody in this Royals lineup has ever faced before with a big old fastball. C-Dot, you and I have seen that story plenty of times over the past decade and a half. I'm nervous about the finale, grateful that Cole Reagans is on the hill, but nervous that we could be staring down a 1-1 game coming up in the finale. Take 2 of 3, no doubt about it. But this offense needs to give me a little bit more hope before I'm going into it. Confident that we'll get 2 of 3. Marquez and Dollander in those final 2 games. I wish this wasn't true, but I am kind of nervous.
All right, I'll get you out of here with these last 2 things. The first thing is you could have made up any name when you told me that Colorado's best player was not playing, and I would have believed you. I'm not even sure if the name you gave was like an actual human being or a real person or not. You said it so confidently, so I believe you that that's a real player. But you could have said anybody, and I would have been like, oh, yeah, Vern,
how many
good
teams
point.
are there like that? Because you speak for the masses right now. The Rockies, Nationals, Marlins.
They still got Strasburg on the Nationals?
Nope. He's been.
They got Juan Soto? He's gone now too, huh?
No. I would say, and this is, if you want an example of where Major League Baseball is, I mean, you guys are about to talk about the NFL draft and who every team in the NFL is going to pick in the first round. And the average listener can vibe with that, can understand all 32 NFL teams and what their need is. C-Dot, I would say 20% of the league. The 20% of the teams in the league, the average listener right now can't name the best player on the team. Right? 6 of the 30 teams, I think that's fair, 20%.
Last thing here as well, we'll go off the baseball path just because I believe everybody has this and you watch enough college football. Who is the quarterback that you were convinced that they were going to be a good NFL starter and it just didn't work out?
Oh, boy. Well, you know, I wouldn't say that I was convinced that no, I didn't believe in Joey Harrington just because he was drafted by the Lions. But I was excited. I was excited when I watched him. He tore it up, I believe, in the Rose Bowl at Oregon. And then they drafted. Oh, my God, I was so excited. So, yeah, I guess I'll say Joey Harrington. It's so embarrassing. It was more of my fandom than it was any sort of football acumen that I have. It was just, boy, he could be the answer. And, boy, he certainly – I thought Jay Cutler was going to take the take the Bears to the Super Bowl. I was wrong about that. I didn't think Cam Newton would be as good as he was.
You
go ahead.
No, I'm saying you weren't a Cam Newton guy?
I wasn't convinced that he would be what he became, and I think that's a Hall of Famer. I thought he'd be good. I didn't think he would be the best player in the NFL like he was back in, 2015.
That is our guy, Josh Vernier, joining us on the show today. Vern, enjoy your day off. I promise you I will not bother you until next Friday. So it's going to be a long time since, and I won't even be here next Friday. It's just a long time since I'll talk to you.
I'm going to miss you, bud. Take care.
Absolutely. That is our guy, Josh Vernier, joining us on the show today. I want to read one thing to you guys. I'm not here to pass judgment on Shannon Sharp. Now, some of you know Shannon Sharp was accused of sexual assault, and it is obviously a very, very serious matter. He has released a long statement with some text messages and says that this woman was not all on the up and up. I'm not here to give you any commentary about this. I don't have much commentary. I don't know. I want to read to you one text message that this woman, who clearly was in a relationship of some matter with Shannon Sharp, romantic, physical, whatever it was, they were involved in some kind of relationship with one another. And I'm just saying, if someone sends you this text, I don't know why you continue engaging in a relationship with this person. She texts Shannon Sharp, you better crave it because you're going to be stuck for life after you put a big black baby in me. This woman texts Shannon Sharp this. Why did you continue talking to her after that? She said other text messages before that I just wanted to give you, that was the PG version of the text messages. She said way wilder things than that to Unc. Why were you entertaining this woman? Rob, have you seen some of these text messages she sent? Shannon. Come on, my brother. You're too old, man. You're too old, brother. I don't know what was going on. I don't know what kind of stuff y'all was into, and I'm not here to judge. I actually believe this part of the statement that he agreed. These messages are just a sampling of a broader pattern of a graphic physical communication initiated by her. The evidence paints a clear picture. This was a consensual adult relationship that included role-playing, language, fantasy scenarios requested by her. I don't know nothing about that. I'm just telling you, if that's a text message you get from another person, you know what I want you to do? Block that number. That woman's crazy. I'm telling you that right now. That woman crazy. I don't have anything else. If you were just minding your business, minding your day, and you get that little buzz in your pocket, and you check your Apple Watch, and that's a text that young lady unprompted sends to you, I want you to call the authorities. I want you to alert the authorities immediately because that woman is not well. She's suing Shannon Sharpe for $50 million. $50 million. Who did you think she is? Chelsea Clinton? $50 million. Godspeed, brother. That's it. I just wanted to read that to you. I would encourage you guys to read it for yourself if you were interested in this. Shannon Sharpe is being sued by a young lady. Her name is Gabriella Zunga. I believe that's how you pronounce her last name. Godspeed to both of them. Rob, let's move on. I would like to play this audio clip for you guys, unrelated to anything we just spent the last 4 minutes talking about. This is the audio when the Chiefs drafted Tyson Jackson.
With the third pick in the 2009 NFL Draft, the Kansas City Chiefs select Tyson Jackson, defensive end, LSU.
Man,
the Seahawks are
Tyson Jackson played in the four-man front, but will play in the three-man front. He's 6'4" and 296. Quick enough to play defensive end in a four-man front. He is scheme diverse. And in Scott Pioli's scheme, he will play the defensive end ultimately in a 3-4 defense. So it goes back to what Marshall said. Scott Pioli believes, and you can see him right here, that was a 5 technique type of play, a 2-gap type of play. He got extension, controlled the tackle in front of him. Watch the athleticism. Tebow, he's got that little option throw inside, makes the play, finishes the hit. How about as an edge rusher? Remember, he won't be doing this in his new scheme. But at 296, very quick, I like his hand use. Heavy hands, beats the tackle, and accelerates to the quarterback.
That was the audio whenever the Chiefs selected Tyson Jackson. They had those back-to-back years where they got the LSU defensive lineman. They got Tyson Jackson one year. They got Glenn Dorsey the other year. Glenn Dorsey at least turned out to, I would say, be a pretty productive NFL player. He left the Chiefs, went to go play for San Francisco, played for a little bit. That ain't how it really went for Tyson Jackson. That really isn't how it went. Let me ask you this, because I would assume that there is a more modern answer to this question. Do you have, like, Chiefs draft scar tissue when it comes to some of these players? You know, like if the Chiefs drafted a running back in round 1, let's say that they took Omarion Hampton at 31. Now, you and I both like Hampton. I wouldn't mind if they took him at 31. I wouldn't draft him at 31, but you and I both know if they took a running back at 31, he will instantly be compared to Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Well, remember the last time we did this? It didn't work. Now we're doing it again. What are they doing? You know that's how it instantly would be. Do you personally have Chiefs draft scar tissue? Is there a player, a position that if they drafted, you would get worried if they did it?
Not in the Brett Veach era. And I don't know if the running back thing constitutes scar tissue. I would be vehemently opposed to any running back at 31, but that has a lot more to do with positional value than it does scar tissue. Like, maybe it's because Brett Veach has been very good at this, but it's not like, oh no, another LSU defensive lineman, here we go again. I would feel any sort of way about it. I mean, maybe Breeland Speaks leads to a little bit of scar tissue, but that was so long ago. I don't think Brett Veach and his tenure at the Chiefs GM carries that, oh, he drafted another bad, Ohio State running back. How will they ever overcome? It's just that I don't think that exists because Brett Veach has cleansed Kansas City of a lot of those demons. There was a time there where it felt like, oh no, another LSU. But if they took a D lineman from LSU this weekend, I don't think fans are going to say, here we go again. They're going to be like, oh yeah, we trust Brett Veach.
Are fans going to feel that way if they draft an offensive lineman in the second or third round? Because they've done that the last couple of years. I know it hasn't been from a specific school, but the last couple of years, they have not taken one in round 1, and they've waited to rounds 2 and round 3 to take a swing on offensive line. Are Chiefs fans going to say, well, you drafted Kingsley, it didn't work? Now we see. I think the jury's still out, but you guys get the point. You guys drafted Wanye Morris. I think it's safe to say that is not working. There is not really a place for him on the 2025 Kansas City Chiefs offensive line. I do wonder if there's going to be that scar tissue that gets built up. Coming up on the other side, I went to WrestleMania. I will tell you guys my story. Keep it right here. It's The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5, The Fan, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
As America's leading business lender, Bank of America is on your corner and in your corner, right here in Kansas City. With $215 billion in business loans and over 3,700 business specialists across the nation, we help businesses thrive so communities prosper. What would you like the power to do? Learn more at bankofamerica.com/local business. Bank of America, official bank of FIFA Club World Cup 2025. Copyright 2025 Bank of America Corporation, all rights reserved.
And Doug. Quickly, Moo, we don't have much time. This Liberty ad is already almost over. We only have a few precious seconds to remind people to customize their car insurance and save hundreds with Liberty Mutual. Okay. Well, I guess we had more time than I thought.
Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Savings vary. Underwritten by Liberty Mutual Insurance Company and affiliates. Excludes Massachusetts.
Some things just go together, like peanut butter and jelly, or a Casey's spicy chicken sandwich and a 49-cent medium fountain drink, or a Casey's breakfast sandwich and a 49-cent fountain drink, or even Casey's limited time Italian deli sliders and a 49-cent fountain drink. You get the idea. It's not crazy. It's Casey's. See store for details.
Attention car shoppers. Kevin Harlan here with Rob Seid of Rob Seid Ford in South Kansas City. Hey, Rob, what's going on?
Hey, Kevin. We've got big savings, rare inventory, no pressure. It's simple, and that's how we like it. 2025's off to a record-breaking start, and we're heating things up while the selection's hot.
Simple is what I love most about Rob Seid Ford. So, Rob, what's the plan?
We've got employee pricing on new Fords, up to $14,000 in savings. In the inventory, we've got the hard-to-find models everyone's chasing. And, as always, you still get what sets us apart. A friendly, non-commissioned sales team, massive trade-in values, and the easiest, most hassle-free car buying experience in Kansas City.
That's why Rob Seid Ford is the only dealership I'll send my friends and family to. But you're forgetting one thing.
What's that?
Rob Seid Ford is Kansas City's top-rated Google Ford dealership.
Good call. Can't forget about that. Check out Rob Seid Ford in South Kansas City at 135th and State Line, ROBSIGHT.com.
Call Aspen Lawn and Pest Control. Our iconic blue trucks and expert team get it right the first time. Award-winning full-service lawn care and pest control since 1985. Call today for a free estimate. Visit aspenlawn.com.
Get 5 quarts of O'Reilly Full Synthetic Motor Oil and a MicroGuard oil filter for $29.99. In-store only. Limit supply.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Snakes, zombies, public speaking. The list of fears is endless. But the real danger is in your hand when you're behind the wheel. Distracted driving is what's really scary and even deadly. Eyes forward. Don't drive distracted. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
I'm Brian Tedesco, CEO of Blaupunkt Americas, the pioneers of the car stereo. Today, we're not just about sound systems. We are revolutionizing the e-bike scene with Blue Dot Bike. Thanks to AmericanEagle.com, our online presence now features a dynamic e-commerce website that showcases the quality and affordability of our foldable e-bikes. And our collegiate e-bikes, just perfect for the college fanatic. These e-bikes offer a new way to experience freedom on 2 wheels, no matter your age. When we needed a top-notch website to match our cutting-edge e-bikes, we turned to AmericanEagle.com. They made the impossible seem easy, tackling digital challenges like pros. Check out the Blue Dot Bike website to see AmericanEagle.com's amazing work in action. Need the best in website and digital marketing solutions? AmericanEagle.com is your go-to. They've been a game changer for us, and they can be for you too. Visit AmericanEagle.com or call 877-WEB-NOW1. That's WebNow 1.
All right, when it comes to getting life insurance for your family, a lot of excuses can get in the way. But ask yourself this: if something were to happen to me, who would pay the mortgage, the kids' education, and the other bills? Then forget the excuses and check out Ethos Life, the online, easy way to get life insurance in 10 minutes. Ethos has rates that you can afford, like a $500,000 policy for a 40-year-old male starting at $1 a day or $30 a month, with a few health questions and no medical exam. Get your free quote right now at checkethos.com. That's checkethos.com. Not available in all states. Rates do vary.
Still getting around to that fix on your car? You got this. On eBay, you'll find millions of parts guaranteed to fit. Doesn't matter if it's a major engine repair or your first time swapping your windshield wipers. eBay has that part you need, ready to click perfectly into place for changes big and small. Loud or quiet, find all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. But you already know that. eBay. Things, people, love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
This report is brought to you by Surfside Iced Tea and Vodka and Surfside Lemonade and Vodka. Surfside Iced Tea and Vodka and Surfside Lemonade and Vodka. Proud partner of the Kansas City Royals. Each can of Surfside is only 100 calories. And the best part, 0 bubbles. Grab it at the Cave or ask for it at your favorite bars and liquor stores.
Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Still very little to report in terms of incidences across the metro. A few brake lights eastbound 435 coming out of 69 highway. Also looking at a stalled car on the left shoulder of northbound 71 in Truman. Also a few brake lights heading into downtown as well via northbound 71. I'm Lori Pearson, 96.5 The Fan Traffic.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios.
Hey Kansas City, it's Bobby Witt Jr. Welcome into The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your home for Royals baseball, 96.5 The Fan.
I'm going to tell you guys some personal stories. If you are expecting hard-hitting sports conversations, I would suggest you come back in 10 minutes. But to make up for this little detour that we are going to take, Andy Reid's press conference, we're going to play that for you at 4 o'clock, and Trent McDuffie is going to call in today. You know, is it yin and a yang on today's show? So I don't know if I've ever told you guys this before, but me and my younger cousin are very, very close. On my mom's side, it was mostly girl cousins, and he was the only other boy. So he's the only other person I had to play with. So it's more big brother, little brother than maybe like a traditional cousin relationship. That is just how things have evolved as we've gotten older. So my cousin is a big Raiders fan and a big wrestling fan. And I could tell he really wanted to go to WrestleMania. Like, he would just kind of mention it and like, man, I wish I could go. And one day I just said, well, I'll take you. We can go. Like, for real? Like, yeah. Like, I wouldn't feel right knowing that I had the ability to help you and I didn't help you. Let's go. So he's all excited. So Rob, his first ever Vegas trip, we went to WrestleMania. You know what? I came away with some very big takeaways after spending essentially the last 2 days. All I've done is watch wrestling. I watched a little bit of the Royals this weekend, but who wants to watch the Royals and not score when you're in Vegas? Like, I didn't watch a whole lot of Royals this weekend. I went to multiple wrestling shows, and I watched every second of the last 2 days of WrestleMania, and I went to one of the days of WrestleMania. I did come away with one big takeaway. I have never seen a community like wrestling fans. Maybe I see it in sports, and it's just different because I am in the middle of it. Like, Chiefs fans are obviously very passionate, right? I had never seen any. Rob, they walk around dressed like the wrestlers. They walk around wearing these, like, authentic belts. Everybody, they just walk around like this. They're, like, really into it. They even know, so I went to this thing, it's called NXT, Rob. It's like their, like, minor league, the AA. I don't know what the equivalent is. You know wrestling better than me, text line. I went to this thing. I mean, everybody there is locked in. They're doing the chants. They know all the people. My cousin, he's telling me, I was a little confused. I didn't really know what was going on, but everybody seemed really, really into it. I had never seen anything like that before, where just everybody was very, very engaged at what was going on. Rob, you and I go to baseball games. Some of the people in baseball games are just there because it's a nice outdoor activity. You don't really care who wins. You know, you're just there to get a hot dog. You're just there to get a beer. You're kind of paying attention to the game. You're on your phone. You're doing all these. That is not how these people were. Not at all. I mean, all of them very much into everything that was happening. I never seen anything like that before. That's number one. Number two, I came away with a very great appreciation for how athletic they are. I don't know if that translates as well on television until you go and see it. Rob, you've seen some of these people. Very big human beings they are. Very big people. They're running around and jumping and flying, and I'm sitting here like, I don't know if you're supposed to do that at your size. Even the ladies in the women's matches, super athletic individuals. I had absolutely no clue. Now, it is hard kind of popping in the middle of this because, Rob, they'll be booing somebody, and I'll be like, why do we not like this person? I don't know why I don't like this person. It made me want to cheer for him because everybody didn't want to see these people win, but they were like very passionate about booing some people and then not booing other people. I had absolutely no clue why we were booing them. Now, I will say, after going to it, I like wrestling on television more than I liked watching it, at least in a football stadium. We had decent seats. They weren't like the best seats, but, you know, up a little bit, right in the middle, really good view. I found myself watching it on the monitor, and then when you're watching it on the TV, you really realize like how well produced it is as a television show. You don't really think about it in that sense, but when you kind of see it in the zooms and the cuts and the replays and the commentary, you realize how all of it matters to create, I would say, a pretty entertaining package. From the crowd, from the reactions, to the excitement, to the cuts and all that kind of stuff. You know what? I came away thinking, I understand why people like this. Not really my cup of tea. I don't really have a desire to go back to WrestleMania in any way. But I will say, I came away like, hey, I get this. I get how you guys have decided this is your favorite television show. I think that's how you got to look at it. I don't think you can look at it like a sport in that sense. I don't think it's a sport in that sense. I think you got to look at it as these people are really passionate about Game of Thrones. These people are really passionate about a popular television show. And once I started looking at it like that and looking at it through the characters and the storylines and the ups and downs, it actually was not a bad weekend of events. I got opinion on all of it. The main event, terrible. Now, I don't know much about wrestling, but I do know what's entertaining and not entertaining. And I can tell you all weekend, they were hyping up this Cody Rhodes and John Cena. This is supposed to be the greatest match of all time. I'm like, oh, okay, all right. I mean, I've never seen Cody Rhodes wrestle before, but I'm thinking it's going to be a great time. Rob, it was not a great time. Why in the world was Travis Scott there?
Why was The Rock not there?
It didn't make any sense. No, none. Made absolutely no sense. Was very confused at why Travis Scott came out. The people didn't really seem very excited when Travis Scott was there. I will say, the two things that they got most excited for, there's some guy, and you guys that watch wrestling would know. His name's like Joe Henley. He came out. He was like the special wrestler against Randy Orton. I'm telling you, you would have thought Taylor Swift appeared. People were very, very excited for his appearance. And out of nowhere, the glass shatters. And I do know enough about wrestling that when the glass shatters, that means Stone Cold is coming out there. He came out in this little ATV. I was at least kind of excited to see Stone Cold as somebody that did watch wrestling when he was out there. And he almost killed somebody on an ATV. I did see that as well. Almost hurt that woman on the ATV.
I'm not a wrestling fan. I don't have any problem with people who are wrestling fans, but I'm not a fan. I went to a Raw when it was, or maybe it was a SmackDown. I went to a wrestling event when it was at T-Mobile Center, previously Sprint Center, because I wanted to see it. The kind of same way we talked about I went to go see UFC. I just want to see it. I understand now why people like it, because it is a perfectly packaged television program. It doesn't hit the same live. Like, it feels like you don't have the closeness, the microphone. They're cutting promos, but it's, there's 500 people in the crowd chanting and screaming, so you can't hear it well. Like, we talk about how the NFL is a great television product. Wrestling might be one of those things, and I don't want to call it a sport, where it's light years better on television than in person, because the stuff's not hitting the same when you're sitting in section 215.
I will say that some of the women's wrestlers, I was a little unaware. I had never heard of this Tiffany Stratton character until this weekend. I'm a fan. That's what I left. I left a fan of Tiffany Stratton. Big fan, actually. Biggest. Huge fan. I like Liv Morgan, too. I did come away like, oh, okay, I kind of like them. Yeah, I came away with that a little bit. Allegiant was nice. It didn't, blow me away. I'd never been inside of it before. I seen it from the outside. Allegiant didn't blow me away. Now, I think it's because, the only other, new stadium I've been to is the Cowboy Stadium. And when you go to the Cowboy Stadium, it is impressive. I didn't get that sense from Allegiant, but it was nice. The little torch was cool. It was a nice venue. Allegiant was a nice stadium. It just didn't blow me away. It felt like a more modern, updated version of the Superdome in New Orleans. That's kind of what it felt like to me. The newer, improved version of it. But no, I had a very, very good time at WrestleMania. I will not be back at WrestleMania. At least I could actually see myself going to the city of WrestleMania and just hanging out and having a good time. I don't have a desire to go back inside. It was, you know what? It was a one-time thing. I'm happy to say that I checked that off my bucket list, and I can now move on in life knowing that I saw John Cena win his 17th heavyweight championship. All right, we'll get back to football coming up on the other side. The NFL draft is 3 days away, round one. Keep it right here, so Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your new home for Royals baseball. 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
It is one of my favorite times of the year, and you don't want to miss it with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook app. FanDuel is the best place to find all your favorite player props, and you can make an heads-up play with player performance trends. So that means if you want to bet on a player to score 30 or put on a triple-double, you don't even need to leave the app to find out who's hot. Plus, after the game tips off, you can even combine live prop bets into a same-game parlay for a chance to win even big. The NBA playoffs are the perfect time to join, and you can get started with $250 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. So use my promo code KFNZ. Go on FanDuel and get started for the NBA playoffs. And make every moment more this spring on FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA, and also 96.5 The Fan. 21 and present in Kansas. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued with non-withdrawable bonus bet, which expires 7 days after restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under agreement Kansas Casino LLC. Gambling problem? Get up with your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700 or visit kansasgamblinghelp.com.
Whether you're digging a pond, clearing brush, grading property, or doing demo, Foley Equipment, your local Caterpillar dealer, is your one-stop shop. Buy or rent, Foley Equipment has the machines you need to get the job done. And right now, Foley has 0% financing on new cat skid steers, mini excavators, and compact track loaders. Stop by any Foley Equipment location today or visit us at FoleyEQ.com. That's FoleyEQ.com.
The fans of Kansas Speedway know how to have a good time. One that celebrates fantastic finishes.
Crash together, so close.
And family-friendly facilities. Trading paint.
We got feuding.
And tailgating tradition. Burnouts, beer, and barbecue. Oh, it'll for sure be a good time. And you are all invited. NASCAR weekend at Kansas Speedway, May 9th through the 11th. Get your tickets now at kansasspeedway.com.
Living with chronic joint pain is like trying to get comfortable on a cactus sofa. Nothing feels good. And forget trying to do the things you enjoy this spring, like golfing, hiking, and tennis. You're just trying to get by. I want you to know something. The medical pros at QC Kinetics right here in Kansas City are on the case and focused to finally get you the relief you need. They've already treated tens of thousands of patients around the country with regenerative treatments that help calm that debilitating joint pain in your knees, your hips, your shoulders, and your back. With QC Kinetics, the science is solid. They give you your life back without surgery, without drugs, and without any downtime. Curious if you'd be a candidate for these treatments? No problem. The consultation is totally free, and they're happy to take a look to see if they can help you finally get the relief that you deserve. Call now and find out how easy it is to get back to enjoying life without chronic joint pain. Call QC Kinetics now, 816-412-6299. That's 816-412-6299.
Gain Super Flings are here to take your laundry to the next level.
Talking about Gain Super Flings. Super size laundry packs. These things are huge. Super fresh, super clean. Gain Super Flings.
Gain Super Flings laundry packs have 4 times the Oxy cleaning power and 3 times the Febreze freshness versus Gain Original Liquid.
Super fresh, super clean. Gain Super Flings.
Gain Super Flings for next level laundry.
Sometimes it feels like the world is moving at hyperspeed and you can't keep up because it's one thing then another. And don't forget the meeting and the yoga class and the dinner reservation. But then you get into the all-new Nissan Murano and you feel the breeze from the panoramic moonroof while the massaging seats melt away the tension of the day. And you realize that sometimes the greatest rush is not rushing at all. Shop the all-new Murano at nissanusa.com. Panoramic moonroof massaging leather appointed seats are available features.
All right, when it comes to getting life insurance for your family, a lot of excuses can get in the way. But ask yourself this: if something were to happen to me, who would pay the mortgage, the kids' education, and the other bills? Then forget the excuses and check out Ethos Life, the online, easy way to get life insurance in 10 minutes. Ethos has rates that you can afford, like a $500,000 policy for a 40-year-old male starting at $1 a day or $30 a month, with a few health questions and no medical exam. Get your free quote right now at checkethos.com. That's checkethos.com. Not available in all states. Rates do vary.
Still getting around to that fix on your car? You got this. On eBay, you'll find millions of parts guaranteed to fit. Doesn't matter if it's a major engine repair or your first time swapping your windshield wipers. eBay has that part you need, ready to click perfectly into place for changes big and small, loud or quiet. Find all the parts you need at prices you'll love, guaranteed to fit every time. But you already know that. eBay. Things, people, love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
This report is brought to you by O'Reilly Auto Parts, your professional parts people.
Get one free set of brake pads when you buy 2 brake rotors. Visit O'Reilly Auto Parts. Offer in-store only. Restrictions apply. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Traffic's brought to you by Midwest Auto Services. Only a few brake lights headed eastbound on 435 out of 69 Highway, and a couple of slowdowns around a stalled out car northbound 71 into downtown. That's right at Truman Road, although it is on the shoulder. Is driving your vehicle like fighting a wild bull? Does it lead, pull, or feel out of sync when you accelerate or brake? Are you replacing tires a lot due to poor wear? Let Midwest Auto Services check your alignment. Call 816-224-4247 or MidwestAutoservices.com. I'm Lori Pearson, 96.5 The Fan Traffic.
Follow the station on Instagram at TheFan965 for giveaways and behind-the-scenes content.
All right, you know what? Let's not talk about the NFL draft. Coming up at 4 o'clock, we will head to Arrowhead to catch up with Andy Reid. He is doing a press conference. Trent McDuffie is scheduled to call in at 4:30. This just broke. I think it's more important than talking about the draft. So you guys know Jack Caglione. He was the 6th overall pick in the 2024 baseball draft. The player who was the 4th overall pick just got called up. His name is Nick Kurtz. He has played 20 games in AAA. He's played 20 games in AAA. He has already been called up at 22 years old. Now, I would say twofold. Number one, this is something to track. If you are one of the individuals that wants to see Cags called up as quickly as possible, another player from his draft class is going to be a very good case study of how quickly can you accelerate this thing? I mean, there are a lot of similarities. He played 3 years at Wake Forest. He then played minimal. He has played 32 minor league baseball games and has already gotten the call up from are we just calling them the Athletics? Are they the Oakland A's, the Sacramento A's?
Just the Athletics.
They just the A's. They
want to be Vegas, but they can't be Vegas because they're not playing in Vegas, and they can't be Sacramento, so they're just
they don't
Athletic.
have a team name. They're
Nope.
just the Athletics. That's it. Okay, all right. I wasn't sure how that works. They are just the Athletics. So they have already made this move. Now, that's part one. This is something I think is very, very meaningful to track. How does he look? Is he somebody that struggles when he comes up here, or is he somebody that is having success? All right, the second part of this is, if Jack Caglione wants to get called up quickly, he has to make it undeniable. I would say that Nick Kurtz made it undeniable. He's hit 7 home runs in their 20 games. He's hitting .321. He has an on-base percentage of .385. His OPS is over 1,000. He has made it undeniable. I'm ready. And he's doing that also in AAA. He was in Las Vegas. So he's doing this at AAA level. He's hitting .300. He's got an OPS of over 1,000, an on-base percentage. We think you are ready to come play Major League Baseball. Now, let's obviously see how he does. I would say that Cags has not made it undeniable at this point. Now, he's only played in 15 games, but he is hitting .258 with an on-base percentage of .329, and his OPS is .813. He has not played close to what Nick Kurtz has done so far in his career. So maybe I was wrong. We had this conversation, I think it was like 6 weeks ago, about guys and how long it takes them usually to come up. I think we are seeing a new day here, so to speak, that teams are more willing to fast-track guys than maybe ever before and get them up to the big league level. If Cags is going to come up at some point in the next 90 days, you got to make it where they can't afford to continue to keep you down there. And with the start that you've had, and I'm not saying it's wrong, you're 22 years old in AA, everybody is not making it to the major leagues in less than a month the way that he did. You're going to have to make it where they can't afford to keep you there. Where if you want to put pressure on the big league club, you got to make it where you're hitting .370, you got an incredible on-base percentage, and you are really forcing them to make a decision. I think the Royals have a little bit of time now with Cags because he got off to that blistering hot start in that first 2-3 games or so. And if he was hitting .400 and doing this, he'd be the number one story in Kansas City right now. But the fact that he has cooled off, again, understandably, not passing any level of criticism, but the fact that he has cooled off and he's not the A side of the story anymore, it just buys the Royals time to eventually call him up.
I understand, and we will. We'll track how Kurtz does for the Athletics compared to how Cags is doing in AAA, or AA, excuse me. And I agree with you. He needs to make it undeniable. I also think the A's versus the Royals are in different situations. The A's, I know they are performing better than most people anticipated, but what's the ceiling this year for the A's? Being a feisty 75-win team? Like, the A's are not competing for anything. And I know the Royals have started out slow, but I think you're more willing to give some major league at-bats and let's let him grow at this level if you're the A's because, hey, we got bigger things on the horizon. We want to be good in 26-27 when we're in Vegas. Let's get him as major league ready now as we can. Where I think the Royals, albeit their offense has been bad and they are not playing up to the standard we believe, I think because they can maybe do both, they can become a playoff team and wait on Cags and show some patience. That's the best play for the Royals. Now, if Cags, OPS jumps into the 900s down in AA, you got to do something. But I think in the Royals' perfect world, they're winning at the major league level and developing him at the minor league level, and they have a serious conversation about what happens next in November of this year because they're trying to figure out 25.
Coming up at the top of the hour, we will hear from Andy Reid as he is getting you ready for the NFL draft. We are taking trips back today to hear how draft experts felt about various first-round picks for the Kansas City Chiefs. Here is the drafting of Dwayne Bowe.
The Kansas City Chiefs select Dwayne Bowe, wide receiver, LSU.
There's one of your values, Mel. So they go wide receiver. How will they have Eddie Kennison and then what do they have? I mean, it's.
Well, Eddie Kennison was their leading receiver last year with 53 catches. I'm still surprised. Herm Edwards, his philosophy is, hey, we're going to run the football. We're going to run the football, but obviously, this is a great pick for them. You got a wide receiver who's big, who's strong, who uses his hands. They're bringing in a new quarterback that can have a guy like this help him out. Now, Eddie Kennison isn't going into his 12th year, but he can be a compliment of this guy as he learns how to play the position and teaches him the do's and the don'ts about playing in the National Football League.
As long as the quarterback has time to get the ball to Dwayne Bowe and those receivers, that's a big question mark with the Kansas City Chiefs. You can't fill all your needs with one pick. I realize that, but I think when you look at Dwayne Bowe, big receiver with decent speed, and certainly had a huge year along with Jamarcus Russell. That was his primary target. You had Craig Davis on the other side. Davis could be anywhere between the second and third round pick. A lot of depth. They went 3 and 4 deep at wide receiver, but a big wide out who had a great end to a season. Had some drops early on, but finished up as a very productive, very consistent option. I just wonder about big time about that offensive line of Kansas City. It looks, about looking awful on paper, on the field this year. That's going to be a major issue that they're going to have to address in the picks to come.
That was Mel Kiper giving you his thoughts on Dwayne Bowe. You know what I miss for the Chiefs, and maybe they'll just never have this player again. I kind of miss when they had the bigger physical receiver. You know, that's not really the Andy Reid staple. They like a 5'10", 180 wiry speedster receiver. Dwayne Bowe is 6'2", 220. You know, I kind of miss having that big target. Has Pat's never had that player, right?
DeAndre Hopkins?
Yeah,
I mean, he had the body type. I'm not saying he was at his prime, but
yeah, no, you're right. I mean, I was actually thinking Kelvin Benjamin. So that was the name that first came into my mind.
That's a guy they definitely never had.
Yeah, no, he was around, but he wasn't around. But yeah, they've never given Patrick Mahomes a 6'2", 225 big physical receiver. You know what? Maybe he would flourish with that type. I don't know. That's not really the kind that they give him. In fact, you know what? They did give him a big physical receiver. He just couldn't run past anybody when they eventually gave it to him. Coming up at the top of the hour, we'll hear from Andy Reid as we're getting you ready for the NFL draft. Keep it right here. It's The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your new home for K-State Athletics, 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this. Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Not a lot of slowdowns to speak of. We are seeing some brake lights out of the 435 and 70 exchange to about the Blue Ridge cutoff. And the southern lanes of the downtown loop starting to see some braking and a little bit of slowdowns over the Bond Bridge heading north. I'm Lori Pearson, 96.5 The Fan Traffic.
Do you have $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is letting everyone know about great debt relief options now available to help people with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of your credit card debt. Get a free debt relief consultation when you call 800-586-4040. 800-586-4040. 800-586-4040.
The success you've already had matters at University of Maryland Global Campus because we're a school for real life. An accredited state university, UMGC lets you earn up to 90 credits toward a bachelor's for prior learning, life, and work experience, or transfer up to 12 credits toward a master's. We offer affordable tuition and online and hybrid courses. Classes start May 14th. Apply now and save with no application fee. Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chev.
BetMGM is making your next golf tournament winner bets more exciting with Second Chance. What's Second Chance? Ever bet on your favorite golfer to win a tournament only to see them miss the green? Well, with BetMGM's Second Chance promotion, you'll get your stake back in cash if your tournament winner bet finishes in second instead. That's right. Simply bet on any player to win a scheduled golf tournament during a promotional week. If you're right, you win. But if your pick finishes in second instead of first, you get your stake back in cash. Watch your favorite players go for the win all season long and bet knowing you'll get your stake back if they finish second. Log in today and make your picks with confidence with BetMGM. BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsibly. See BetMGM.com. geico.com for terms. 21 plus only, Kansas only. Existing customer offer. Subject to eligibility requirements. Rewards paid back in unrestricted withdrawable funds. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel.
How do you feel when you switch to Geico and save on your car insurance? It's like trying to remember the name of that neighbor who's lived on your block for 10 years.
Oh, hey, you. How are you?
Is it Diane or Diana or possibly Dina? But then you just take a leap and somehow get it 1,000% correct on your very first try.
Daphne, it is so good to see you, Daphne, which is such a lovely name.
Snatching victory from the jaws of defeat. Yep, switching and saving with Geico feels just like that. Get more with Geico.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-518-3899. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-518-3899. That's 800-518-3899. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
If severe weather hit you last year, don't worry. Century Roofing is here. We have extended our free material upgrade sale on all roof replacements to celebrate our 35th anniversary. We'll provide an in-depth inspection to determine if enough damage exists to warrant filing a claim with your insurance company. See for yourself why Century Roofing has been voted Best of Johnson County for the 3rd year in a row. Trust the pillars of strength. KC-based and female-owned. Century Roofing, KC.com.
Century Roofing, trust the pillars of strength.
I'm sure everyone says this, but my mom really deserves the world. This year, I finally found a Mother's Day gift that comes close. She loves Hellsberg, so I'm getting her these timeless gold earrings she can enjoy for years to come. They feel special enough to show how much I truly appreciate everything she does for me. And I mean everything. I even sent my dad a link to the Diamond Eternity band he'll be getting her, too.
Save up to 50% on Mother's Day gifts Mom will cherish forever. Visit Hellsberg.com or a store near you.
What's up, KC? This is Matt Quattrero. On your way home from the ballpark, make sure to listen to Vern's postgame show right here on 96.5 The Fan. I will not be listening.
96.5 The Fan, KFNC FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, an Odyssey Sports Station.
All right, welcome back on the show. My name is Carrington Harrison. We're going to head to Arrowhead Stadium right now to hear from Andy Reid as we get you ready for the NFL Draft.
Mandatory camp, voluntary, in other words, and the guys can pick and choose when they show up or not show up. In other words, so it's we're not really going to get into who's here and who's not here and all that bit. That's not how this one works. We're sure grateful for some of the new additions that we've had to the roster with Kristen Fulton, Elijah Mitchell, Jalen Moore, Gardner Minshew, Jerry Tillery. I mean, these are some of the newer guys, and then we've re-signed a bunch of guys. So that's been a plus. We also lost a few guys in which I know Brett covered that with you with a couple questions about Tooney and so on, and Justin Reed and Hopkins and all of that bit. So, but those are Jalen, Justin Watson, and Wentz and Wharton. So those are all good football players. In this day and age, it's tough to keep everybody in a roster hole like that, but we sure feel like we've filled in the blanks with some good football players, and that's same with the draft coming up this week. We look forward to getting into that. We've got 8 picks there, 2 second-round picks, a first-day pick, and so on as we go through there. So it should be, it should be a good positive outcome once Brett gets done with that. I know his guys have worked their tail off getting ready for the draft, and along with the coaches, which they've included. But again, I said the coaches were a small part of the whole. But Brett, my hat goes off to Brett and his staff for the job that they've done and all the prep time that they've put in and travel time. So other than that, I don't have much to add, but I'll open it up to questions here. Fire away.
Let's go ahead and kick it off with Pete. Go ahead, Pete.
Hey, Coach. Hope you're doing well. I was wondering about Jalen Moore. Obviously, not a ton of experience starting, but you guys seem to have confidence in him. I guess what told you and the team that he could be capable of doing this as a starting left tackle?
Yeah. So I felt Jalen. Well, first of all, he's backing up a pretty good player in San Francisco, arguably the best ever played a game. So I mean, and then when he got his opportunity, he took full advantage of it. We also remember him because he played next to Caliendo for 3 years and at Western Michigan. There, I think we lead the league in players from Western Michigan, but now that we've added him. But listen, he was a good football player there. When he had opportunities in San Francisco, he was a good player there. We thought that he would be a nice addition to our offensive line as we continue to work that. So
We'll go next to Adam Teicher.
Hey, Andy, how you doing?
Good. I thought you retired. You're back.
Calm down. You're getting rid of me. It's just going to take another couple months.
All right, doggone, you took those teams that you were running.
We're getting there. We're getting there.
Right.
Hey, wanted to ask you about Rashee Rice and Jared Wiley as well. How are those guys doing in their rehabs, and what will their status be when you guys get together on the field in the spring, but also when camp starts? And Sid, I'll have a second question as well.
Yeah, I can't necessarily give you they're doing well. I mean, that's taking place right now, but I can't tell you when they'll be back exactly here. But both have been busting their tail. They're running, which is good, and we'll just see how it goes going forward here. We don't have them here on the field right now with us, so we've got to see the football part of it as we go.
Okay. And when we last saw Kingsley Suamataia, he was playing a guard, obviously up in Denver in that last game. Is that where he'll play when you guys get started again in a few weeks? Will he be a guard, number one, and number two? What led you guys to make that move with him? What did you see in him that led you to believe he'd be a productive player at that spot?
Yeah, when we brought him in, we knew he had that flexibility. We just felt that way athletically, and he's a very good athlete. He can run and he can pass block, do all the things that he needs to do. I thought he felt more comfortable in there as a young guy. Sometimes you see guys that start in there and then they work their way back outside. But so we stuck him in there, and he did a nice job against Denver. That was one of the bright spots in a game that didn't have many. So that was, I thought he did a good job. And that's where we'll put him. He'll start in there with Mike Caliendo. So they'll compete for that spot.
Let's go next to Vahe. Go ahead, Vahe.
Hey, Andy.
Hi, Vahe.
A couple of things, if I could, Sid. One is just, Andy, you're in phase one, and I'm just curious, for you personally, what's the difference in your own mentality coming out of the way this Super Bowl went versus the last couple? I mean, you're so process oriented typically. I mean, does anything change in your mind as you're preparing for the next go round based on just what it's been like this time around?
Yeah, so I'm excited to get going again, and it's been fun to go back in and dig in on the season and either come up with new things and or correct the things that we still like and are bringing back. I think it's a great time for the players. It's slowed down to where they get to see all the videos, the cut-ups, the work that the coaches have put in to do these evaluations and to teach. And so, and to learn from the player standpoint. It's also good communication, so they can share ideas, players and coaches. They can ask questions, feel free about that. And there's no rush to do so. And at the same time, they get their lifting in and running in that they need to build that base to get them through the season.
Is that different somehow than it would be a year ago?
No, I tell you, it's similar. Yeah, similar. As that. Yeah.
And sorry, the one other thing, I don't mean to squeeze a third in, but I do. You've had a nice relationships with your former Missouri players over the years, and I'm sure you're aware of Andy Locke recently dying, and I just wonder about what you recall from his playing days, and any thoughts you have had about him over the years.
Yeah, it's a sad deal, but what a great guy, and he's left a nice legacy for us all here too. That we can cherish if we decide to go out to dinner. The true flavor of a offensive lineman. He has these beautiful restaurants in town here that are great. But what a great guy, great human being. I had a chance to go out to a tribute to him in Lee Summit there with a bunch of the ex-players and from Missouri, and Jay Greenwood being his roommate for all those years, and best friends with him. Went to the culinary school there, hotel management school at the University of Missouri, which is a tough school to get into. Both of them had graduated from there and have had real productive and positive jobs or put themselves in great financial positions. So, but my heart goes out to the family for sure. And Drew, who we all know as a player in the National Football League, I know he had a great relationship with his dad too. So that's my heart goes out to him.
Thanks a lot, Andy.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll go next to Matt Derrick.
Hey, Coach, and two questions, if you don't mind, Sid. But one, 5 years ago, if we told you that you'd still be doing meetings virtually and doing it in the first phase of OTAs, would you have believed it? Could you have believed that a ball coach like yourself would have embraced this as much to kind of help your team a little bit?
Listen, man, I think it's one of the positives that came out of that, probably for a lot of professions. I mean, here we're doing this right now virtually, and that didn't happen before either. So, but you can use it as a teaching tool, and that's something that the players have perfected, we perfected, and feel comfortable doing. But no, I wouldn't have seen that before the whole COVID year showed up.
And you mentioned Gardner Minshew coming in. This is the first time Patrick's, really going to have maybe a principal backup behind him that's younger than he is. Is there a benefit to that, especially having somebody like Gardner that maybe is a little bit like him as far as that gunslinger mentality in that quarterback room to help him kind of dissect things, since Gardner's had a lot of experience too?
Yeah, he sure has. He's a good football player. I think it'll be a good relationship between the two of them. They both know of each other and respect each other, and I think they look forward to working together. They can speak more on that when you have a chance to talk to them. But Gardner's a humble kid with a great personality, loves to play the game, and all of those are the same things that Pat has too. So it should be a good working relationship there.
We'll go next to Sam McDowell.
Hey, Andy. Obviously, Patrick is doing this virtually. I just wonder, ahead of time, what kind of guidance do you provide him? I mean, is he drawing up how to those guys spend their time down there? Is there a script of sorts that you provide?
Yeah, you know what, Sam? We don't do that. First of all, it's not legal to do that by rules, by the NFL rules. So, and really, to be honest with you, Pat doesn't need that, especially right now with the experience he has and the experience that the receivers have. So that have joined him last year when we had some new faces or young guys in there. It was a little, it was a little different. He had to really prep for that. But this year, he can kind of go out and work on the things that he knows the guys need worked on and the routes and that. So I think it's even a better situation this year than it was last.
That is Andy Reid as he is meeting with the media. We'll continue to keep an ear on it. And if he says anything interesting, we certainly will make a cut of it and we will play it for you. Trent McDuffie is going to meet with the media coming up in just a bit. And then after that, he's going to call into our radio show. Really excited to talk to one of the best corners in the National Football League. Coming up on the other side, let's get back to the NFL draft. We'll do that before Trent McDuffie calls in. Keep it right here. It's The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison.
This man was a bona fide scrub.
On 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Royals coverage sponsored by Metal by the Foot, your metal project superstore.
For over 36 years, Metal by the Foot has been your source for steel, aluminum, brass, and stainless. Located in Casey and Topeka. Online at metalbythefoot.com. When you need a piece of metal, remember, metal doesn't have to cost an arm or a leg, just the foot.
Red Hot Car Giveaway, only at Harris, Kansas City. Saturday, April 26th, one lucky winner will win a brand new Red Hot Lexus ES350. Harris is giving away $2,500 in free play every 15 minutes from 7 p.m. till 10:45 p.m. At 11, 2 winners will receive $5,000 in free play, and 1 person will win $10,000 cash. And 1 person drives home a brand new Lexus ES350. Visit our website for full details. 21 or older to gamble. Know when to stop before you start. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Okay, so I'm gonna let you in on a little secret. Wendy's has this new Cajun Crunch chicken sandwich. And to be honest, I'm kind of crushing hard on this Sammy. It's packed with bold Cajun flavors and topped with crispy onions for a satisfying crunch. All on Wendy's iconic spicy chicken sandwich. It's honestly kind of my dream sandwich. I hope it likes me back. For a sandwich you'll love, gotta be Wendy's. Open till midnight or later.
Limited time only at participating U.S. Wendy's. Hours may vary by location.
Getting engaged? At Shane Company, we'll help you find the perfect diamond. This is your engagement ring, aka only your life's most important piece of jewelry. No need to worry. As gemstone experts since 1929, we handpick only the most beautiful natural and lab-grown diamonds cut to our high standards in every price range. We have diamonds in all shapes and sizes, ready to compare side by side right here in our store. Come see for yourself at Shanco.com or at your local store. No appointment necessary. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
Are you prepared for the change in seasons? Take advantage of Hamilton Plumbing, Heating, AC, and Router's $69 seasonal HVAC tune-up deal to help prevent costly breakdowns and ensure your heating or cooling system is running at peak efficiency. Over 40 years experience and more than 8,000 5-star reviews are great reasons to trust Hamilton. Our licensed technicians and exceptional service guarantee will give you peace of mind. Visit callhamilton.com for details, terms, and conditions. License number 2025-11121.
Febreze. As a rideshare driver, I love keeping my car smelling fresh and clean. So when I'm driving, I only trust Febreze car vent clips, featuring 3 distinct intensity settings. Because it's that little touch that sets me apart. I can turn the intensity down for subtle freshness, or I can turn it up for when I want lots of scent. So whether it's set to low, medium, or high, with Febreze car, I know my car's going to smell amazing. Which keeps my driver rating right where it belongs. Picking up Oscar!
What up, fellow Gen Xers? Elizabeth Banks here. As the original Latchkey kids, we took things into our own hands, like house keys and video game controllers. And now it's time for us to do it again, because the recommended age to get vaccinated against pneumococcal pneumonia has been lowered to 50 and older, even if you're healthy. We're at over 6 times greater risk compared to adults under 50. So go to vaxassist.com and schedule. Gen X, this is our shot. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Still getting around to that fix on your car? You got this. On eBay, you'll find millions of parts guaranteed to fit. Doesn't matter if it's a major engine repair or your first time swapping your windshield wipers. eBay has that part you need, ready to click perfectly into place for changes big and small, loud or quiet. Find all the parts you need at prices you'll love, guaranteed to fit every time. But you already know that. eBay. Things, people, love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
You know what's better than a limited time deal? An unlimited time deal. That's why the Wendy's $5 Biggie Bag with a Junior Bacon Cheeseburger, 4-piece nugs, Junior Hot and Crispy Fries, and small soft drink is available all the time. Because the best time for fresh, never frozen beef and Applewood smoked bacon is all the time. Duh. I feel like I'm repeating myself a lot. For the best deal of all time, gotta be Wendy's.
Unlimited time does not mean forever. U.S. price and participation may vary. Prices may be higher in Alaska, Hawaii, and California and via third-party delivery. Fresh beef available in the contiguous U.S., Alaska, and Canada.
Buckle up and hang on. This is going to be a good one.
The fans of Kansas Speedway know how to have a good time. One that celebrates fantastic finishes.
Crash together. So close.
And family-friendly facilities. Trading paint.
We got feuding.
And tailgating tradition. Burnouts. Beer. And barbecue. Oh, it'll for sure be a good time. And you are all invited. NASCAR weekend at Kansas Speedway, May 9th through the 11th. Get your tickets now at kansasspeedway.com.
This report is brought to you by Surfside Iced Tea and Vodka and Surfside Lemonade and Vodka. Surfside Iced Tea and Vodka and Surfside Lemonade and Vodka. Proud partner of the Kansas City Royals. Each can of Surfside is only 100 calories and the best part, 0 bubbles. Grab it at the K or ask for it at your favorite bars and liquor stores.
Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Easter Monday traffic a little lighter than usual, but we are still seeing some brake lights into downtown, northbound 35, eastbound 70 out of the 435 exchange, and southbound 71 between MLK and East Gregory. I'm Lori Pearson, 96.5 The Fan Traffic.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios. Be sure to follow The Drive on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Now, I understand the flaw in this exercise, but I still believe that it is going to be a meaningful and worthwhile exercise. So there was a trade-up idea for the Chiefs. And the trade-up idea was that the Chiefs would move up from 31 to 22, 23, 24, somewhere in that range. It would probably cost them, obviously, their first-round pick. You are moving up, so you swap picks. You would have to trade your second third-round pick. So they have 2 third-round picks. They have the Titans' third-round pick. They got that for L'Jarius Sneed, and they also have their own third-round pick. And it would cost them a future 4th-round pick. So not in this year's draft class, but in next year's draft class, they would trade a 4th-round pick. Rob says he wouldn't do it, thinks the price is too steep. My philosophy on this is use your draft assets to get the things that you really want and you really need. What this organization really needs is a long-term plan at left or right tackle. And I'm not sure if there is ever going to be a perfect year to get one or that perfect prospect because of where the Chiefs usually pick. If you're going to pick in the bottom 5 to 8 picks of the NFL draft every year, the offensive lineman prospect you get is not going to be a premium one. It's going to be the 3rd, 4th, 5th offensive lineman off the board. He's not going to be an elite prospect. He's going to have some question marks attached to him. That's why he's a late first-round pick. And if he didn't have those question marks, he would go 9th overall. So I looked this up because Rob wouldn't give up that 3rd-round pick. I have written down every 3rd-round pick the Chiefs have made since they drafted Travis Kelce. So you guys know Travis Kelce was the 3rd-round pick, and Travis Kelce has obviously been not even a home run. He has been a grand slam at the 63rd overall pick for the Chiefs. This is every 3rd-round pick they have made since they got Travis Kelce. Niles Davis, Phillip Gaines, Chris Conley, Steven Nelson, Kavari Russell, Kareem Hunt, Derek Nottie, Dorian O'Daniel, Colin Saunders, Lucas Niang, Leo Chenal, Wanye Morris. We call the NFL draft a crapshoot, and it obviously is. But the crapshoot really starts in the 3rd round. Now, teams miss on 1st-round picks, teams miss on 2nd-round picks. I think the Chiefs are one of the better teams in the league. They have been one of the best drafting teams in the league. This isn't just Brett Veach. This is also John Dorsey, who has made it a track record of being really, really good in the draft. There's one star in here. There's 1 star. How many starters did I read off from this? That's not to say you're supposed to hit on these 3rd-round picks. You're going to miss more times than you make. But my biggest point is, so take that 3rd round in which you have a 10, 15% chance on really hitting, and why don't you take that percentage chance and move it to the 1st round? Move it to the 1st round. I mean, even if you get a player like Leo Chenal, who is a good player, I'd rather use the 1st-round pick plus the opportunity to get Leo Chenal to figure out a long-term solution at right tackle. I think it's worth it. And if you're telling me with Joshua Simmons that we had Matt Miller on the show, and I can play the audio for you, he is telling me that he believes he is the best left tackle prospect in this draft class, but he had an injury. Well, good. Sometimes you got to go get the clearance. Sometimes you got to go get the open box. Sometimes you don't have enough money to buy it brand new with the warranty, but you can still afford it. You just got to get it on the open box. That's what I want the Chiefs to do at left tackle. I think we got to start being realistic about how the Chiefs are going to solve their problem in 2026 or 2027 at left or right tackle. And it is probably not taking a swing in the 3rd round on Wanye Morris. No, it is spending a significant resource to go address, I would say, 2 of the hardest things to find in the draft. It's not super hard to find a running back. It's not super hard. It's not super hard to find a wide receiver. I don't think it's super hard to find corners in the draft. It's really, really hard to find good offensive linemen. We all watch the National Football League. You think it's a bunch out there? Every Sunday when you sit down, you think the offensive line play in this league is great. It's fantastic. That's not what I see. So if you got a chance to get one who you think can be good, plus you put him in a unique position that he gets essentially a redshirt year, I think you owe it to yourself to take the big swing. I'm coming around on them stashing a left offensive lineman. And maybe that's not a left tackle. Maybe it's a guy that you think can play right tackle next year. And let's say that I would say is a likely outcome. I don't got to go best case or worst case scenario. The likely outcome is that Jalen Moore is a good player. Maybe not a great left tackle. He is a good left tackle in the league that you are fine with having as your left tackle and you're not overpaying for him. Jawan Taylor walks at the end of the year. You get his $20 million back, and you can just instantly plug and play whomever you draft in this year's round 1, even if you trade up to go get him. I would say that is a likely outcome. I think that is a great outcome for the Kansas City Chiefs and something that right now is at the number 1 on my board. You guys know some years I'm big on them getting a corner. Some years I'm big on them getting a wide receiver. While the Chiefs don't immediately need anything, they do not need anything. I think you owe it to yourself to take a decent swing and get the best offensive line prospect they've gotten while Brett Veach has been here. I know Creed has turned out to be a great player. Trey Smith has turned out to be a great player. You have a chance, if you spend a little bit of draft capital to move up to 21, it will be the best offensive line prospect that you have drafted since he's been there. I would take a swing, and I would seriously look at moving up.
Here's my question. Because where me and you differ is, you're right, on the draft chart, like, hey, a second-round pick is worth X, you need to package this and that to get up to this location. On the draft chart, me and you are actually on the same page. I don't mind if you use the L'Jarius Sneed pick as ammunition to move up to find that left tackle. Maybe you find a left tackle who's so good that he supplants Jalen Moore, and you paid Jalen Moore basically a 1-year, $10 million contract to be a backup. That's life in the NFL sometimes. My question is the specifics of this draft. Matt Miller was on the show earlier. Catch the podcast page. He said there's only like 2 guys that he's like, oh, they're surefire, but they're both going to be gone. Like, it's not a rich offensive tackle draft where a Nate Solder, I know who was with the Patriots for a long time, fell into the mid-20s one year. That's not really a thing in this draft. This draft it's better versions of Kingsley, guys who are projects and maybe can develop into a tackle, but you feel safe, and when you pick them, they can play guard. That's their NFL trend. You're moving up with premium picks to pick the guy, Josh Connerly, pick a name, and you think, okay, worst case scenario, we got a guard. That is worst case scenario if you're using all that ammunition to move up.
I don't know if that's why don't we play this process out? You say worst case scenario is you draft a guard, then you move on from the guard that right now you have committed to give $20-something million to. You have a rookie play that position, and then you use that $20 million elsewhere. Someone on the text line, CDOT, if you think he's a surefire guy, then you make the trade. But if you're saying he's the best tackle that's still there and we want one, let's see what he's got, then no, I wouldn't make the trade. There is nobody surefire at 31 overall. That's not the way that surefire works. You know who's surefire? Abdul Carter. You know who's surefire? Travis Hunter. That's why they're going in the top 5 in this draft class. There is nobody surefire at the back half of 31. You're taking a chance at the back half of 31. You're taking a chance. And right now, to me, it is about taking the highest percentage chance that you can. You do not find the Chiefs, to me, have done it wrong in some ways. They've done it wrong. Trying to draft Wanya Morris in the 3rd round and thinking that he's going to be your left tackle, the history of the NFL draft tells you he ain't going to be. Drafting Kingsley Suamataia in the 2nd round and thinking that he is a day 1 starter at left tackle is a flawed way of thinking if you look at the actual left tackles in this league. They've been taking flyers on left tackle, and they've swung and missed twice at it. Take a legitimate prospect at it. If Josh Simmons was healthy, he would be the best left tackle in this class.
I'd also say that's a massive if with him. That's the entire story
right.
with him. I agree with you on Josh Simmons, but he did get hurt. That happened. We all saw it with our eyes. Like, it's a thing that did happen. You're right. If he wasn't hurt, he'd be a surefire top 10. Do we know the medicals? I know he's telling people I'll be back ahead of schedule. That just because he says it doesn't mean it's true.
No, you're 100% right. I guess my point, though, about nobody is surefire is once you get to this portion of round 1, I think it is easy to talk yourself out of why you should use a round 1 selection. I like Luther Burden. I don't think that's a secret here. He went to Mizzou. Luther Burden quit on Mizzou last year. There's no doubt on my mind. After the Alabama game, maybe during the Alabama game, he got into draft pick preservation mode. He quit last season. He quit openly, I thought, last year. Like, I could find reasons why you should draft Luther Burden in round 1. I could find a reason of why you shouldn't draft them in round 1. That's kind of where you are. Felix was right there on the cusp. Let's say that the Chiefs didn't take Felix. There's a chance Felix doesn't go till 50 if the Chiefs don't take him at 32 2 seasons ago. But they waited. They took him. And look at where they got. Look at where they got. CDOT, I think you're underestimating the talent of offensive linemen drafted in the 3rd round. The Patriots did it for years. It's literally a pillar of their dynasty. I think the pillar of their dynasty was Tom Brady, but okay, it's neither here nor there. Have the Chiefs shown you that they have an ability to draft left and right tackle? There's some things I think the Chiefs are really good at that we don't question. If the Chiefs draft a corner in the 3rd round, I think we all feel very good about it. If the Chiefs take a safety in the 3rd round, that's a Swiss Army knife like Chamari Connor, they have a history and track record of doing it. Have the Chiefs shown you that they can wait at left and right tackle and come up with the right answer? I don't think so. I think we got to start being realistic about what they're good at and what they're not good at. And right now, they're identifying their left and right tackle positions. They have not been strong at it in the draft. Well, one way to be strong at it is take the better prospects at it. Don't take the 9th offensive tackle on the board like Wanya Morris. No, take the 3rd offensive lineman on the board. Take the better college player and then see how it works.
I feel, and you know, I'm anti-trade picks guy. So I'm going to be on the side of caution and keep the picks, take multiple swings, especially in a draft that we think, and I think this is the lens I'm looking at. If this is what Daniel Jeremiah said on every podcast he went on, if this is a starter, not star draft, in theory, you should be able to stand pat and find a starter type. Matt Miller was on this show, and he said this is a flat line type of draft, and the difference between guy 14 and 40 is pretty negligible. Now, that doesn't apply to every position, but Matt Miller said that. If he's correct, if the scouting department of the Chiefs agrees, then why am I firing a ton of ammunition to go get guy 14 when I can stand pat, get guy 27 on your board, and feel like you're getting enough value there? I think through the lens of this draft, I would want the Chiefs to be extra patient, extra weight, extra hold picks, because there is nothing about this draft we've heard that screams, oh, there's some can't miss guys, you got to go get them. It's everything you hear is there's a bunch of really good players. It's just a matter of where you get them.
I want to play what Matt Miller had to say. We had him on the show earlier today. He, like many, expects the Chiefs to go on the line of scrimmage in round 1.
I would love for it to be Luther Burden. I'd be happy with a tight end, like a Mason Taylor at that spot. I'd be happy with a speedy edge rusher. But when we get back to how this team normally drafts, I'm with you. It's probably going to be a defensive lineman, probably going to be a defensive tackle, unless one of those offensive tackles falls. But, I don't know, man. Last time they lost the Super Bowl, they got aggressive, and a lot changed in a hurry. And we didn't see that through free agency. So maybe we see it in the draft, with 4 picks in the top 95. Maybe we see some aggressive movement. I had heard 2 weeks ago that they were at least interested in moving up. The last time they were interested in moving up was the Rashee Rice drafts when no one would trade with them when they wanted to move up. So we will see what happens.
We obviously will see what happens coming up this weekend about the Chiefs and moving up to see if they'll go get the tackle. I mean, there's only one position I'd be super interested in moving up to go get. I mean, I guess I wouldn't be against if they move up to go get a defensive lineman and an edge rusher. It just feels more likely to me that they're going to move up to try to go get an offensive lineman. Here is Matt Miller talking about the defensive line. He thinks that most of the good pass rushers are going to be off the board by the time the Chiefs pick.
Yeah, it's a good defensive end class. I have 6 guys with a round 1 grade. I think the issue, again, for Kansas City is 5 of them are going to be gone by the time you come on the board. Abdul Carter's gone. Jalen Walker's long gone. Shamar Stewart, Mike Green, Michael Williams. I think those guys are long, long gone. Donovan Ezraku from Boston College could be there. He is not a Steve Spagnuolo guy because he's light. He does have good length. He has really good speed. But I think from a body type perspective, looking at him, the way that he needs to add some power to his game, 6'2.5", 248 pounds, even with 34-inch arm length, which Spags loves, 6'2.5", 250 is not getting it done for Steve Spagnuolo unless he's really changed his philosophy after watching Nolan Smith in the Super Bowl. So he's a player that could be there at 31. I don't think he's a great scheme fit. I look at the defensive tackle class and think this might be the spot.
That was Matt Miller, joined us on the show earlier today. I don't feel very confident about them going to go get a defensive lineman. Now, it's just mocks. Players go higher than they think. People go lower than they think. People are still on the board. If he's telling me he thinks there's 6 round 1 quality, he thinks that 5 of them will be off the board and 1 doesn't fit the Chiefs system and scheme, I don't think they're going defensive line, at least edge rusher and pass rush, which I'm obviously for them trying to figure out. I do think this part is pretty interesting, and we talked to him about it just a little bit. And we got to take a break because McDuffie's about to call in. I am curious how the Chiefs kind of evaluate wide receiver if one of the Burden falls in the draft or Egbuka, who played at Ohio State. If he's on the board at 31, would they trade back and not take a proven college wide receiver? I think he was a very good college receiver. And what I think has kind of happened with him is he stayed in college too long, and now we're kind of overthinking the kind of player that he was. I think he is ready to come in and help any team in the National Football League. There's a lot of different directions. Obviously, the Chiefs can go in round 1. We have a couple of days to figure it out. So, Rob, we're going to break early because we are expecting Trent McDuffie to call in. The next time you hear my voice again, we will be talking to Trent McDuffie. That is the plan. Keep it right here. It's The Drive.
Hey, it's Lucas Ursig from the Kansas City Royals. You're listening to The Drive with CDOT on 96.5 The Fan.
Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Get one free set of brake pads when you buy 2 brake rotors. Visit O'Reilly Auto Parts. Offer in-store only. Restrictions apply. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
You know what's better than a limited time deal? An unlimited time deal. That's why the Wendy's $5 biggie bag with a junior bacon cheeseburger, 4-piece nugs, junior hot and crispy fries, and small soft drink is available all the time. Because the best time for fresh, never frozen beef and Applewood smoked bacon is all the time. Duh. I feel like I'm repeating myself a lot. For the best deal of all time, gotta be Wendy's.
Unlimited time does not mean forever. U.S. price and participation may vary. Prices may be higher in Alaska, Hawaii, and California and via third-party delivery. Fresh beef available in the contiguous U.S., Alaska, and Canada.
Get one free set of brake pads when you buy 2 brake rotors. Visit O'Reilly Auto Parts. Offer in-store only. Restrictions apply. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Hello, Kansas. Looks like we're in for another heat wave this season with a forecasted high of up to $300,000. That's right. The Kansas Lottery is bringing the heat with the Hot Sevens family of tickets rolling across our state. You could instantly win up to $300,000. Plus, there's even a chance at up to $20,000 in the second chance drawing through Play On. Talk about a scorcher. Don't forget your oven mitts when you head out today. See kslottery.com for details.
Royals coverage sponsored by Renner Garage Door, forward and back, RENNER.
It's almost Andy Reid. The offseason is a perfect time for a $100 tune-up from Renner Garage Door. Get a free replacement quote today. Call or click rennerdoor.com, Renner forward and back.
RENNER.
New Harley-Davidson Street Glides under $265 a month at Rawhide Harley. Right out for under $265 a month on a new Street Glide at Rawhide Harley-Davidson.
Payments based on Street Glide model and base color with 30% down, 96-month term, 6.99% APR with approved credit. Doesn't include brake setup tax, title, and license fees. See dealer for details.
Royals coverage sponsored by Metal by the Foot, your metal project superstore.
Where can you find an extensive line of Blue Demon welding supplies, filler, rods, and wire? Metal by the Foot, located in Casey and Topeka. Online at metalbythefoot.com. When you need a piece of metal, remember, metal doesn't have to cost an arm or a leg, just the foot.
Welcome to your home for Royals baseball. 96.5 The Fan.
I try not to lie to you guys. I told you the next time you heard from me, I'd be talking to Trent McDuffie. Trent McDuffie is on the phone right now. Very excited to talk to him. Trent, how are you doing, man?
You can hear me?
I got you loud and clear, man. How are you?
Okay, yeah, man. I'm doing good. How about yourself?
I'm doing great, Trent. I just want to know if you consider yourself to be a friend of the show. We have a rule. If you come on the show 3 times, you are a friend of the show. This is now your 3rd time coming on the show. So I consider you friend of the show. Do you consider yourself to be one?
I feel like a friend of the show. Hopefully you keep inviting me back. You know, we got this good relationship going on.
All right, let's start with this. Let's get the football stuff out of the way, and then we'll get to our usual fun questions. Are you hopeful of getting a deal done this summer?
I mean, whatever happens, happens. You know what I mean? I know what I bring to the table, and I know me and the Chiefs has a good relationship. So when it comes to contract, really, that's something my agent's going to worry about, and I'm going to just go ahead and focus on football and winning games for the city.
Have you started the process of talking to the Chiefs about getting a deal done, or is that something that you're just letting the agent handle fully?
Yeah, that's fully my agent. I got all the trust in my agent. Shout out Patrick Collins. He's one of the best, and honestly, this allows for me to just keep my mind focused on the main thing, you know, which is football and making sure I'm in the best headspace and physically ready to go out there and produce.
Last question about the contract, and then we'll move on from this. Is it a scenario where you and your agent have a deal in mind, and whenever that number gets there, he calls you and tells you, I've done it, or are you guys in constant communication about what's going on regarding a future contract?
I mean, we're always in constant conversation. You know, I actually flew him down to California where I spent most of my off season, and we kind of just talked about everything, about the market, about different dudes getting paid, and really for me, I don't think there's a set money target that I really want. I just want to be paid based on my value, and really for me, it's just all about relationships. So no matter what, I just want to make sure that the relationships stay as strong as they can and don't let any of this contract stuff really affect it.
Do you find this part to be stressful about it? You know, you're young and you just want to play football. You want to keep playing at a high level, keep competing for championships, keep playing for championships. Is this part of the business stressful?
I think it can be. You know, I think it comes with its own stressors and really just the unknown, you know, not being in this kind of space. You know, it's my first time really negotiating a contract and being where I'm at in my point of my career. So I definitely say there are some stressors, but the team that I have built around me, you know, as far as my agent, as far as even just my PT, I mean, they really allow for me to just stay mentally focused, mentally free. So it's been a little stressful, but for the most part, I mean, it's been easy peasy.
Right now, we're talking to Trent McDuffie here, just going over his offseason. All right, I have no more contract questions. I have no more football questions. We are back to our normal, just learning more about you. What is one thing you have planned this summer?
One thing I've planned is my youth football camp. Going on the third year out here in California. Was able to set up a foundation last year, so all proceeds go back to my foundation, and it's something that I honestly just really love to do. You know, come back to my town and give the kids just a few hours to go out there and spend some time with me and throw the ball around.
How rewarding is it to be in that position? I'm guessing you were a kid and you were going to these football camps, that now you're in a position that you can give back.
100%. I mean, I love it. You know, every time I go out there and talk to a group of kids, or even just simply go and just watch some guys play football, just knowing the impact that I've been able to create and knowing how much it means to people to hear what I have to say and to hear me on the field, it's special, and it's something I don't take for granted. And honestly, it's really what makes me happy. You know, being able to give back and being able to see smiles on other people's faces is really what allows me to get up in the morning and enjoy doing what I do.
I'm sure that you get asked for advice from like a high school kid. Let's say he's 16 years old. He's trying to figure out where he wants to go to school, and he eventually wants to be the next Trent McDuffie. What is the biggest piece of advice that you give?
I always say you got to just trust in yourself. I know when I was in high school, I had a lot of coaches, a lot of outside noise always telling me you can't do this, you're too small. And I always say the one person who was able to get me here was me. And so being able to rely on the people you trust and just have that faith in yourself that you can go out there and do it and compete with the best. I always say that's the most important part, because you can always go as far as your mind will let you to go.
Right now, we're talking to Trent McDuffie here, learning a little bit more about his offseason. All right, that was your answer for the community. I know you have something planned for yourself. You know, you got a lot of time between now and football season. You got some pockets where you can take a trip, you can travel, you can do something. Give us one plan you have for this summer.
Man, let me think. What I'm trying to do, it's not set in stone, but hopefully I can get back down to Mexico, somewhere maybe in Cancun, maybe Cabo. Go sit on the beach for a few days before training camp, because as they all know, once that training camp starts, St. Joe's is tough. So being able to mentally allow yourself to kind of get away from that for a second, there's something I'm going to do. I have nothing planned, so I can't give you any details right now, but just know I'm going to be somewhere on the beach chilling.
No, that makes perfect sense. All right, I'm going to paint a scenario where you can go on a trip, but you can't go to a trip to a place that you've already been. So you got to go somewhere for the first time. You and your lady, you were going somewhere that you've never been and she's never been. Where would you pick?
Man, we going out there to my boy George Karloftis out there in Greece. And I already told him the second he ready for me to come out there, I said I want to come out. I want to meet the fam. I want to get a good home-cooked meal. And that's really the plan, that once he gives me the green light, that's where I'm going to be in Greece. So be on the lookout for that.
Right now we're talking to Trent McDuffie. When was the last time that you took a road trip?
Oh, I couldn't even tell you. I don't know if I've ever taken a road trip.
See, that was one of those things that, like, obviously college worked out well for you, but that was one of those things, like, you needed to have that good college road trip.
You know, I'll say this. Actually, I'll take what I said back. My sister went to college about 8 hours from where I grew up, and there was one time we had to move her in, and we took this 8-hour drive, super long road trip through San Francisco. And to this day, after that trip, I said I won't take another road trip. So it was like a good and a bad thing with that whole thing. But 8 hours in the car, I just can't do it.
8 hours is actually my limit in a car. I don't mind anything 8 or less. Now, some places I just will fly, like Denver, for example. There's no reason to drive to Denver. Just fly. It's going to be easier. It's cheap to get there. But 8 hours is at my cap. If I got to sit in this car for 10, 12 hours, I can't do it. Please put me on a plane.
I'm hearing you on that one. I'm glad we can agree with that because I know some people who do it. You know what I mean? I know some people who drive 10, 12 hours, but for me, I'm out to fly. I'll meet you there.
I remember this fall when you came on the show, you told us that you had not been to a concert yet. We need to figure out right now if you're going to go to a concert. Come on, like that is one of those things as somebody that likes music, you got a little bit of free time. We need to figure out a way to get you to somebody's concert this offseason.
You know, it's funny you said that. You might be a mind reader or something, but I'm actually trying to go to the Kendrick Lamar SZA concert at some point. You know, I love those two artists. And so I've been in talks with my girlfriend about trying to find a weekend or a plan to go out there and finally see my first concert because whenever I tell people, they are pretty shocked about that.
This is actually a really tough topic for me as somebody who was Team Drake. It's been a very, very rough year seeing the beat down that he's taken.
Yeah, man. You know, Kendrick Lamar, you know, from the city. So I've always been a Kendrick fan day one, but you know, I mean, Drake's good. You know, I can't say too much about Drake, but yeah, I'm about to say Kendrick won that one.
Do you ever go back to watch the Super Bowl halftime performances?
Actually, brother, I do not. But I had some family who was there at the game, and they said it was really good.
Right now, we're talking to Trent McDuffie for a couple more minutes here. All right, Trent, it is baseball season. Let's say that you go to a baseball game. You can put 2 toppings on your hot dog. What are you putting on it?
Probably ketchup, and that's about it. I'm not gonna lie. I don't really eat hot dogs, but I'm not a mustard fan. I know people like pickled relish, if that's even a thing still. Can't do that. Like, I'm simple. You just give me some ketchup, and we're gonna be good.
We love food takes on this show. What is your verdict on meatloaf?
I would probably eat it. You know, I'm not gonna hate on meatloaf. I think it's something that every once in a while it's enjoyable to eat. But I always say every food, anything you eat, it's all based upon the cook. So I'm gonna have me a good cook if I'm gonna eat some meatloaf.
This is my stance on meatloaf, Trent, because I'm sure you've been to some nice restaurants before. When you and your lady or you and your family are sitting there eating and you ask them, hey, what are you thinking about getting? There's never been a time where she looked over at you and said, man, I don't know, this meatloaf sounds really good. Meatloaf is not that good. Meatloaf is not something anybody orders out.
Honestly, you got me there. I don't think I've ever heard anybody order meatloaf. So, hey. Yeah, you can change my mind. My mind can be changed on this topic. I'll tell you that much.
I actually need your help with this. I like Dippin' Dots, the ice cream. The text line always makes fun of me for liking Dippin' Dots. Where are you at with those?
Dippin' Dots is cool. You know, I can't eat it no more. I'm a little lactose intolerant, but best believe growing up, I see some Dippin' Dots. I was for sure getting me a little baggy.
Last thing here, Trent, we appreciate your time. I believe that every kid had a favorite wrestler at one point. Maybe you grew out of wrestling, but there was a time that you were into it and you had a favorite wrestler. Who was your favorite wrestler as a kid?
Man, let me think back. Honestly, probably The Undertaker. Undertaker was always cool. You know, he'd always come up from the ground. It's always dark, mysterious. Like, I enjoyed watching that as a kid when I watched wrestling. So shout out to The Undertaker.
Yeah, he was actually my least favorite because he was scary. Like, I'll never forget going to that wrestling event for the first time, and it just got dark, and it was just like ominous music. He used to scare me as a kid. Hated The Undertaker.
You know, he's a villain, and right now I feel like where we're at right now on the Chiefs, we got this little whole villain aura going on, so maybe I'm just following the right footsteps.
And that is Trent McDuffie joining us on the show, All-Pro Corner, enjoying his offseason. Happy enough to have him call in today. Trent, man, great stuff, man. We look forward to catching up with you during the season, man. Have a great offseason.
Of course. Much appreciated. Always good being on the show.
Absolutely. That is Trent McDuffie joining us on the show. Happy to get him to call in today and get his thoughts. Can we officially now put Trent McDuffie on the board as friend of the show?
I mean, that's 3. That's the rule. And by the way, 3 great appearances. I would do Trent McDuffie weekly. I like Trent McDuffie a lot.
I'm telling you that we changed the course of his career. He had no interceptions before he started coming on this show, and then he turned into Deion Sanders in 95 once he started coming on this show. Good things usually happen. We could have maybe saved MJ Melendez. We could have saved MJ. You want to know You guys, this is how I know you guys aren't right. 913-586-7965. If our show had the luck that the midday show has, we'd be getting crushed. Constantly getting crushed. Didn't MJ used to go on the midday show?
They were fans, yeah.
What happened to the James MacArthur guy from last year? They was buying T-shirts. Ray was handing T-shirts. We've never done that to a player's career. If this show had done to a player the way the midday show did to James MacArthur, we would never be forgiven by it. You guys aren't fair. You guys aren't balanced. We've changed Chiefs history with Trent McDuffie. We don't get any credit for it. It's okay. We're just going to keep our head down, Rob, and keep doing the work. That's what we do. We keep our head down and we keep doing the work.
I assume, and maybe I'm wrong, that when he eventually gets paid by the Chiefs, he'll thank us in kindness. Now, I don't need a monetary thank. I would take it. It's going to be more money than I've ever seen in my life. But this show's probably the show's going to get him paid. Brett Veach, I know you're listening. Pay Trent McDuffie.
I mean, Veach probably heard that. Like, man, I should get on that. I should start handling that contract. The number for that guy is only going to go up. It's only going to continue to rise. That's fair. That's it. Someone said, do you think you can have Sky Moore on the show? I think he's too far gone. I think he's too far. We could have got MJ early. We could have got him in the beginning and changed the course of his career. You can't just put your We can't save Hunter Renfrow. We can't save him. It's over. It's gone. They should have had Hunter Renfrow should have been a regularly scheduled guest last season if they wanted to do this thing proper. But obviously they didn't want to do it proper.
If I recall, last year after the draft, when the Chiefs were giving players to the station, we got Xavier Worthy. Was he good last year?
That's true.
The midday show got Kingsley Suamataia. Was he good last year?
That's fair. No, 100%. That's 100%. That's what happens. All those Super Bowl MVPs and stuff, you think that would happen if he was going on other shows? No, not at all. You come on this show, you get a little extra. You get a little boost. That's what we do here. But you know what? Again, we're just going to put our head down and we're going to keep doing the work. Special thanks to Trent McDuffie for popping on the show. Coming up at the top of the hour, let's talk a little Royals baseball. Let's also get you ready for the NFL draft. Keep it right here. It's The Drive.
You're listening to The Drive with Carrington Harrison.
For the first time in a long time, I'm willing to dream that this can be a special season for the Missouri Tigers.
Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this. 96.5 The Fan. Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Traffic a lot lighter on this Easter Monday. A few brake lights coming out of 69 Highway on 435 eastbound. Also seeing the typical slowdowns, that is eastbound 70 out of the 435 exchange, and just a little bit of slowing around the downtown loop. I'm Lori Pearson, 96.5, The Fan Traffic.
Hey, it's Carrington Harrison from The Drive here. Are you feeling tired, maybe a little foggy, or just not like yourself? Well, it could be low T. Symptoms like low energy, poor sleep, and a lack of motivation. They don't have to control your life. And at Heartland Men's Health, they specialize in treating low testosterone and helping men regain their vitality and confidence. With just a simple, quick quiz at heartlandmenshealth.com, you can find out if you're experiencing low T, and then you can book a $100 consultation. They'll run your labs, and within 30 minutes, you'll have your answers. And if you start treatment that day, then the visit is on the house. In just weeks, you'll feel more energy, get better sleep, improve workouts, and have a stronger sex drive. So don't let this hold you back. Pick up the phone. Don't wait. Call 844-447-6600 or visit heartlandmenshealth.com today. Heartland Men's Health has 3 locations to serve you: Overland Park, Independence, and North Kansas City. Reclaim your energy and confidence today.
Hi, Drew and Jonathan Scott here, reminding you that a lot of life's firsts are better with help from American Family Insurance. Like your first home expansion or your first big lightning strike. There's a first for everything. Get the right home policy at the right price with the right help from American Family's agents. Life's better when you're under American Family's roof. Insure carefully, dream fearlessly. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products not available in every state. American Family Mutual Insurance Company SI and its operating company 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
Here's today's six-man picks, presented by DraftKings Pick 6.
The first round continues tonight. In the East, consider taking Karl Anthony Towns to have more than 11.5 rebounds. He was a force off the boards in Game 1, and New York will need that to continue against a good Detroit offense. In the West, consider picking Michael Porter Jr. to have more than 12.5 points. He's a strong shooter off the bench and figures to get more minutes tonight than he did in Game 1.
Download the DraftKings Pick 6 app and lock in your picks before tip-off with code MyPicks. That's code MyPicks for new customers to play $5 and get $50 in Pick 6 credits. Better payouts, bigger wins. Only with Pick 6 from DraftKings. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Must be 18 plus. Age and eligibility restrictions vary by jurisdiction. Void or prohibited. One per new customer. Bonus awarded as non-withdrawable Pick 6 credits that expire in 14 days. Limited time offer. See terms at pick6.draftkings.com/promos.
I'm Bob Burke, founder and chairman of Burke America Parts Group, a family of brands that includes RepairClinic.com, an appliance and HVAC parts solution company that's grown into an international brand. Before AmericanEagle.com, we partially launched a new technology platform developed by another firm. American Eagle helped take our technology to a whole new level with digital marketing, software development, and business insights into our key markets, appliances, HVAC, and outdoor power equipment, and did so both on time and on budget. AmericanEagle.com has the resources, experience, and talent needed to produce solutions. Our new technology platform, developed by AmericanEagle.com, has produced tremendous results with higher traffic, conversion, engagement, and online revenue. If you have any home repairs you need to take care of, check us out at RepairClinic.com. If you need a world-class website or technology project, then I would highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Call AmericanEagle.com at 773-NETWORK. That's AmericanEagle.com, 773-NETWORK.
Check engine or ABS light on? Take the guesswork out of your warning lights with O'Reilly Veriscan. It's free. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan.
O'Reilly Auto Parts. You know what's better than a limited time deal? An unlimited time deal. That's why the Wendy's $5 Biggie Bag with a Junior Bacon Cheeseburger, 4-piece nugs, Junior Hot and Crispy Fries, and small soft drink is available all the time. Because the best time for fresh, never frozen beef and Applewood smoked bacon is all the time. Duh. I feel like I'm repeating myself a lot. For the best deal of all time, gotta be Wendy's.
Unlimited time does not mean forever. U.S. price and participation may vary. Prices may be higher in Alaska, Hawaii, and California and via third-party delivery. Fresh beef available in the contiguous U.S., Alaska, and Canada.
Check engine or ABS light on? Take the guesswork out of your warning lights with O'Reilly Veriscan. It's free. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Do you have $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is letting everyone know about great debt relief options now available to help people with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of your credit card debt. Get a free debt relief consultation when you call 800-586-4040. 800-586-4040. 800-586-4040.
The success you've already had matters at University of Maryland Global Campus because we're a school for real life. An accredited state university, UMGC lets you earn up to 90 credits toward a bachelor's for prior learning, life, and work experience, or transfer up to 12 credits toward a master's. We offer affordable tuition and online and hybrid courses. Classes start May 14th. Apply now and save with no application fee. Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chev.
MVP Air Conditioning, Heating, Plumbing, and Electric is your home's MVP this spring and summer. Get a summer AC tune-up for just $39 and avoid costly repairs. 913-214-1212 or visit themvpkc.com. MVP. One call does it all.
The technicians you can trust with your house keys. Anthony Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electric.
Stay comfortable year-round with expert HVAC installation done right the first time. Enjoy zero down and payments from $180 a month. Schedule your consultation today at AnthonyPHCE.com.
Hey, it's Cole Riggins, and this is 96.5 The Fan, your home for Royals baseball.
KFNC FM and AM, HD1 and HD2, Kansas City, and Odyssey Sports Station.
All right. I got to call a timeout. Congratulations, 9 to 5. You know how this goes. I am starting to think, and I've thought this for a while, Rob secretly tries to sabotage me and has beef. All I do is look out for Rob behind the scenes. Rob needs something, I always try to come through for him. Rob is my brother. He knows that. We have one promo that calls me a bona fide scrub, and I let it slip. I don't even know why, who was like, listen to the drive. He's a bona fide scrub. Why would you listen to the drive then? It seems very counterproductive to what we're doing here to call the host of the show a scrub, but I let it slip. Rob knows I'm hurt, and Rob knows I'm reeling. Now, I asked Rob during the commercial break, hey, who cut this? He was like, that was me. He had a little chuckle about it. He had an evil grin on his face. Why are we playing this?
You're listening to The Drive with Carrington Harrison.
For the first time in a long time, I'm willing to dream that this can be a special season for the Missouri Tigers.
Brought to you.
Why are we playing this? Because you want to know all that does? All that does is give you guys a runway to laugh at me, to mock me, to ridicule me. You guys don't do that enough. That's enjoyable to you guys, to make fun of me, to kick me while I'm down. Rob didn't put any sweepers in there about his KU team that was ranked preseason number 1. He was telling me Hunter Dickinson could be National Player of the Year when the season started. He didn't find any of those cuts. He didn't find any of that. We didn't find him talking about A.J. Storr and Zeke Mayo coming home. He didn't cut any of that, but he going to try to kick me when I'm down? With friends like that, who needs enemies is my question. Who needs them? I don't like what's happening behind the scenes here. This must have happened those couple of days I was out sick. That's why I'm not gone, because I don't know what happens when I come back. I feel like Childish Gambino. I walked into a room was on fire for no reason. I haven't done anything. But you know what? I'm just going to keep putting my head down and doing the work. That's all I can do. Can I give you guys some Royals stats? And I would actually like a random lineup today. Can we do a random lineup, Rob? Let's do a random lineup. I want to give you guys just a handful of Royal statistics. We'll do a random lineup, and then we'll get to the Chiefs. Going into Sunday's game, all of the hitters on the team, not named Bobby Witt Jr., were hitting 195 collectively. I'm going to say that again in case somebody next to you honked and you missed it. Take Bobby Witt Jr. off the team. Poof, he is vanished. I did a Penn and Teller magic trick. Bobby Witt Jr. is gone. Everybody else on the team is hitting 195. The Royals are very simple. Sometimes I struggle how to talk about the Royals because they seem so straightforward. Like people in my position, we like rack our brain and like find all of these. Sometimes the answer is right there in front of you. The Royals are 2-13 this season when they score fewer than 4 runs. 2-13. When the Royals score 4 or more runs, they are 7-1. Guess what they did on Sunday? They scored 4 runs. Guess what happened? They won. Now I know you're thinking, well, that's obvious. Have you told them? Have you considered maybe they don't know this statistic and maybe it is my job to inform them? When they score 3 or fewer, they are 2-13. The Royals are actually kind of good when they score. You know, they got good pitching, they got good defense, they got a good enough bullpen. Man, when the Royals help the rotation out and they help the pitching staff out a little bit, hey, this team's actually pretty good. They could win their division. They could make some noise. They're the team we expected at the very beginning of the season. Doesn't happen nearly enough. Now, I'm hoping and praying and wishing that this is a get-right week. Colorado is terrible. I mean, Colorado, it's like watching what you're going to see tomorrow if you go out to Kauffman Stadium is you are going to see the 2025 Royals play the 2005 Royals. They're playing a game out there. It is turn back the clock day at Kauffman Stadium for the next 3 days. The Rockies are terrible. The worst team in baseball. Are bad. Tomorrow's a day to go out there. It's dollar dogs night. Take your lady, take the kiddos, take the family out there, get you some dollar dogs. And I want to see the Royals start to pummel on a bad team. We've had a lot of conversation about the schedule and if it's been tough or I don't care about that anymore. They're on the other side. This was a bad week. It was a bad week, but you know what? They've come out on the other side. Now it loosens up a little bit and they play the worst team in baseball. They cannot afford to lose this series. I know it's April, it's early, I don't care. You cannot afford to lose a series to the Colorado Rockies, not when you're scuffling. The purpose of a slump buster is to bust the slump. You've been in a slump the entire season. The baseball gods have decided to put the Colorado Rockies in the middle of your skid. Punish them. Simple. Punish the Colorado Rockies because they are a bad team. They are what the Royals used to be. The Royals, they have moved past that. They have evolved. The Royals are 2-13 when they scored 3 or fewer runs this season. And collectively, without Bobby Witt Jr., they're hitting 195. It is difficult to be as bad offensively as the Royals have been so far this season. They are not out of it. They are 4.5 games back. They got the Rockies coming in. This is a get-right time. So don't miss this opportunity. You only get one shot of a home series against the Rockies. Take care of business against the worst team in baseball. All right, we'll get back to the NFL draft coming up in a little bit. We'll also get to the hits coming up. But you know what, Rob? It's been a while since we've had this. I would love it. Hit me with the random lineup.
We're where you want to be. Baseball with the Royals.
Carrying today's random Royals lineup goes back to those Royals of years past you mentioned. This is the Royals lineup on this date in 2005, where the Royals lost to the Minnesota Twins 9-10, which started a 9-game losing streak for the boys in blue.
Okay, here you go. More negativity, man. You're bringing us down with your negativity.
Leading off for the Royals in center field should be Royals Hall of Famer David DeJesus.
I love your one-man crusade for this.
Oh, I'm going to get Kurt Nelson. If you're listening, get him in. And
Let's have Kurt Nelson on the show and ask him why he's not in there.
I'll be on the field. Do whatever you need me to do, Kurt. Get him in the Hall of Fame.
They need to let you throw out the first pitch that day.
I'll put the little blue jacket on David DeJesus' shoulders.
That's crazy. That's nuts.
Batting second at third base, Tony Graffanino. Batting third, the first baseman, Mike Sweeney. Batting fourth, in left field, Eli Marrero.
You know the best way to describe Mike Sweeney to the kids that didn't get a chance to see Mike Sweeney? He was early 2000s Bobby Witt Jr. He did all the hits, all the runs, all the home runs, and would pray that somebody else could get on base and somebody else could help him. There was a 2-year stretch there that Mike Sweeney was one of the 5 best hitters in the American League, and they gave him Tony Graffanino as his 2-hitter.
Batting fifth, the shortstop, Angel Baroa.
That statue should be in the Royals Hall of Fame.
Batting sixth, the catcher, John Buck. Batting seventh, the designated hitter, Calvin Pickering.
Oh my goodness, I forgot about Calvin Pickering.
Batting seventh, in right field, it's not a snack, it's Emil Brown.
I love Emil Brown.
And batting ninth, at second base, Ruben Gotay.
You know what?
This team scored 9 runs on this date in Royals history.
You know what? When you say it like the way that you said it, I now see how they went on a 9-game losing streak. Like, I was a little unsure how that team had a 9-game losing streak, but once you read 5 through 9, the picture became very clear.
To be fair, Brian Anderson started on this date, and he gave up 8 in 3 innings.
So, of course, they didn't do anything right. They couldn't pitch, they couldn't hit, they couldn't play defense. They lost repeatedly.
You'll never guess, but Torrey Hunter homered.
Yeah, he was a Royals assassin. That's what he used to do, just snipe the Royals at every single turn. Shout out to Torrey Hunter, man. Shout out to Torrey Hunter. Coming up in about 20 minutes or so, we had Matt Miller on the show earlier. We'll play the best of that conversation for you. We have been having a little fun today. I think fun would be a way to describe it. We have been going back in time, and we have been listening to the draft reactions of various players for the Kansas City Chiefs. You know what? We were talking earlier about surefire, can't-miss prospects. I will tell you this. In our lifetime, I guess if you're under 40, there's only been one Chiefs player that I looked at as being surefire. There was no possible way that he was going to miss. And no, it was not Patrick Mahomes. They have had one can't-miss, undeniable prospect that I can remember. It was Eric Berry out of Tennessee.
With the 5th pick in the 2010 NFL Draft, the Kansas City Chiefs select Eric Berry, safety, Tennessee.
Well, when you watch Eric Berry play in Tennessee, you see it in every film. Every week, Eric Berry's a force. He's a great athlete. He's a great kid, a great communicator of the game, and he blew the combine away with his ball skills. I'm not so sure he can't play corner. But take a look at this guy's anticipation and his closing ability. And when he's in an open field situation, he might be as good a one-on-one tackler as you'll see. You can bring him down in the box and play him at linebacker level, and he is instinctive. He'll find the ball. Big hit versus Tim Tebow. He won't back down from anybody. He can play in the safety position. Great anticipation, ball skills. And if you want to blitz somebody, dial his number because he'll get there and he's going to be a turnover creating machine, a leader. Kansas City Chiefs are got to be excited.
Trent McDuffie as well. Great defenses have great safety. That's just the bottom line.
So 12 interceptions, guy. His first 2 years, 14 throughout his first 3. Dropped the 2 picks in Monty Kiffin's defensive structure. Obviously, didn't maximize his ability as a center fielder, but those 12 interceptions, first 2 years, team captain at Tennessee.
I know that we like to play revisionist history with Eric Berry's career. And I understand that Eric Berry's career didn't have the end that a lot of people expected or wanted it to have. I am not joking when I say this. If you were around when Eric Berry was playing, Eric Berry is one of the best defensive players in the last 20 years of college football. That's how good he was. That's how good he was. He was amazing at Tennessee. And all of us think that we are draft experts and we have found this diamond in the rough, that there are some players that it seems very obvious, oh, that guy's going to be a good pro. Sometimes you just see it and know. Sometimes you just see it and you know. Eric Berry was one of those players. You knew he was going to translate to the next level. You talk about Hall of Fame and Chiefs Ring of Honor. Somebody explain to me why Eric Berry is not in there. Eric Berry was the comeback player of the year in 2015. He was 3 times first-team All-Pro for the Chiefs, 13, 15, and 16. He was a 5-time Pro Bowler in his time. He also was on the 2010s All-Decade team. Like, you cannot name too many players at his position. Like, these were the 3 safeties for the 2010s on the All-Decade team. Earl Thomas, Eric Weddle, and Eric Berry. That's how good Eric Berry was in the 2010s. I'm telling you, some of you know, when he was coming out of college, he was can't miss. That guy was going to be a good pro. That was going to work. The only argument people had about Eric Berry was really positional value because no safety had ever went that high before. Teams didn't take safeties in the top 5 now. I think Eric Berry would be the number 2 overall pick in this draft class. And I love Travis Hunter. Eric Berry he was incredible. So it was good to take a trip down memory lane and celebrate how good Eric Berry was. And no, they ended up being right.
I think, and this is the obvious, but it's so sad for Eric Berry because he should be in the Chiefs Ring of Honor. He should be celebrated at the highest level by Chiefs fans. the way Chiefs fans talk about Tyrann Mathieu is how they should talk about Eric Berry, because Berry was better in Kansas City than Mathieu was, and Mathieu was really good. But the end soured so many people. Him saying it wasn't in his spirit, and then it felt like he was day-to-day for an entire season but wasn't even active. It shouldn't affect fans' perception of Eric Berry, but the way it ended, I think, left a sour taste in a lot of fans' mouth, and those fans are wrong, but I think that is the story now with Eric Berry, and people forget the fact that he beat cancer and came back and had an all-pro season. He won 2 games at safety by himself for the Kansas City Chiefs with Andy Reid as the coach. That should be what we talk about, but we talk about the in his spirit comment.
Yeah, I just think with Berry, I think it is just very, very obvious that football broke him down. And I understand how people heard it took his spirit. I never heard it the way that other people heard it, but I also think it's really important to note it's not like Eric Berry didn't. We've seen situations where guys were hurt with one team and then they instantly go to another team and then they're just magically healed all of a sudden. After saying that, his career is essentially over. It's over. Eric Berry does not play past that game. Past the playoff game against the Patriots in the AFC Championship game. That is it. That is the end of Eric Berry's career. His body just fell apart. That year that everybody talks about with Eric Berry, he had 2 phenomenal years. There was one year I actually think he should have won Defensive Player of the Year or gotten more consideration for. I think it was 2016.
That year he had the pick 2 against Atlanta. That one.
He won 2 games for them defensively back in 2016. So in 2015, he is an All-Pro. In 2016, he is an All-Pro. He's an All-Pro in 3 out of 4 years. He is as good as any defensive player in the league. He played 3 games after that in the league. He played 3 games. His body gave out. Now, I don't want to make it seem like we have come so far, but I do think now maybe we are a little bit more mindful of the effects that football has on people, and I think what happened to Eric Berry is the same thing that happened to Andrew Luck. I think Andrew Luck woke up one day and said, I cannot do this anymore. Not at the level which I feel comfortable with. And that was kind of it for Eric Berry. So I understand that those comments turn people off, and I think Eric Berry gave football physically everything that he could, and I think his body just stopped responding, and I think that was the end of his career. Someone on the text line says, C-Dot, do you have this for Eric Fisher? We actually do have it for Eric Fisher. Here you go.
With the first pick in the 2013 NFL Draft, the Kansas City Chiefs select Eric Fisher, tackle, Central Michigan.
So talk about a first. First time in a long time that we didn't know who the first overall pick was going to be. And a first, it's a Central Michigan Chippewa, the school that sent Dick Enberg out into the world. Dan Meyerly. That is amazing. Now sends Eric Fisher to Kansas City.
I feel about him. He's a Pro Bowl left tackle. People wanted to question him going to the Senior Bowl. He's from a smaller school in the MAC. I put on the tape against Michigan State where he pitched a shutout, then against Iowa where he pitched a shutout, and I thought he had as good a week as anybody did in Mobile, and it kind of shut up all the critics and announced that he had arrived.
I just thought of this. This comparison just hit me. So it's not even fully fleshed out yet. Do we think that this year's draft class could be like that 2013 draft class? Now, there is a quarterback or quarterbacks in the mix, but listen to this top 10 in 2013. Like, this is not a good draft. Eric Fisher was the #1 overall pick. At that point, it was very Chiefs to have the #1 overall pick in a very, very down year. I guess kind of like having the #1 overall pick, and Cam Ward is the #1 overall pick. So the #1 overall pick was Eric Fisher. #2 was Luke Joeckel. #3 was Deion Jordan, who basically just did not play in the league. Lane Johnson was the 4th overall pick, who has had a phenomenal career. Ezekiel Ansah was drafted #5. Barkevius Mingo, Jonathan Cooper, Tavon Austin, D. Milner, and Chance Warmack, the guard out of Alabama. Those were the top 10 picks that year in the draft. Do you think there's a chance that we look back at this draft class and the people are right? There's not a lot of high-end talent in this year's draft class. I think Travis Hunter is amazing. I think Abdul Carter is incredible. I would probably put Ashton Jeanty in that conversation too as an elite high-end prospect. The only reason we're arguing with Jeanty is because of his position. It's the only reason why we're arguing it. If he was a wide receiver, we wouldn't be having this argument. He might be the number 1 overall pick based on the talent that we know exists with him. Outside of that, is there anybody that gets you really excited? I mean, at least in this year's draft class, there were 3 tackles that went really high on, and one of them looks like they could be a Hall of Famer. Like, it was a good tackle class. Fisher ended up playing a decade in the league, and Lane Johnson is still in the NFL today. Now, Luke Jokel didn't really amount to a whole lot, but, I mean, this draft class, it didn't have a quarterback. It had 1 wide receiver go in the top 25. This is a bad draft now looking back in hindsight.
I think this draft will be better strictly because of Travis Hunter. Like, part of that draft was, and this is not a perfect analogy, look at who the Heisman people were the year before. Like, usually the Heisman finalists are a who's who of elite talent in college football. Now, sometimes it's elite talents who only translate to the college level, But usually, if you're a Heisman nominee, you have a chance to be good in the league. The 2012 Heisman class was Manziel won as a freshman, so he couldn't come out. Manti Te'o finished second. He was a second-round pick because he's a linebacker. And shout out to K-State, Colin Klein, who had no NFL chance,
That's a fair point,
finished third in the Heisman voting. So when the best 3 players in college football are, hey, it's a linebacker we think's a second-round pick type of guy, a guy who has no NFL prospects, and a guy who can't leave, it sucks a lot of talent out of the draft. Travis Hunter is a freak, and he's in the draft.
And you also got Ashton Jeanty, who finished second.
Correct. So just by those 2 alone, I feel like this draft will be better. That draft is always going to go down as beyond unique.
That was a fun Heisman race, though, in hindsight. In hindsight, that was actually a really fun Heisman year.
It adds a little extra seasoning of fun now that you know the story with Manti Te'o.
That's what I'm saying, all of it. Like, that first game of discovering Johnny Manziel was a you had to be there kind of moment. Because, like, you had heard about Johnny Manziel, but that afternoon when they beat Alabama, a star was created that day. The Manti Te'o story was the biggest story, and Colin Klein was just a really, really good football player. I think Jordan Lynch was also in that class, too. That's when we were kind of getting along with, like, the MAC played on the weekends. That's a really fun Heisman group now in hindsight. You're right, not a lot of pro potential, but a really, really fun Heisman group. In hindsight. Coming up on the other side, we have Matt Miller join us on the show earlier. We'll play the best of that conversation and get you ready for round 1 of the NFL draft. Keep it right here. It's The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison, your home for the best food takes in KC.
Regular old American nachos. You know, I don't need jalapenos with mine, just chips, cheese.
Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this. 96.5 The Fan.
With us is Dr. Christian Hedinger with KCUC, Kansas City Urology Care. What makes KCUC the best?
Hands down, that's our physicians and our experience. We have combined hundreds of years of experience amongst our over 50 providers, radiation oncologists, medical oncologists, and urologists, often practicing under the same roof, who can provide the best integrated care to our patients. We've recruited surgeons from the Mayo Clinic, Harvard, Stanford, UCLA, and many of the other best institutions providing care in kidney, prostate, and bladder cancer. We often can provide our patients care from diagnosis to treatment to labs to scans to medications, all under one roof, all in an office setting as opposed to a hospital. We've assembled all of these physicians that are close to all different parts of Kansas City.
See the experts at Kansas City Urology Care. At KCUC, you see the best in KC. To make an appointment, visit kcuc.com.
What's up, everybody? Nick Costos here with the Sports Betting Minute, brought to you by BetMGM, the sportsbook born in Vegas. Please gamble responsibly.
Pro basketball playoffs roll on. Game 2 of the Western Conference Series between Denver and the Los Angeles team in blue. Denver winning Game 1 in overtime, and Denver a 1.5-point home dog here against LA. The total sitting at 218.5. So again, LA a slight road favorite, and I agree with that. I think LA is the better team here, and if you watched Game 1 on Saturday, LA, you know that LA lost that game way more than Denver won it. LA with some mind-numbing possessions down the stretch. I think LA's the better team. I think LA can fix the problems. So coming up tonight, give me LA to win on the road in Denver. That's it for this Sports Betting Minute, brought to you by BetMGM. Download the BetMGM app and take your game to the next level with the sportsbook born in Vegas. Please gamble responsibly.
BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsibly. See BetMGM.com for terms. 21 plus only. Kansas only. Please gamble responsibly. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel.
If the amazing regenerative treatments at QC Kinetics provided relief for former pro football player Bobby Carpenter, imagine the potential for your aching joints.
So my knee had been bothering me for a while. I played football for a number of years. I looked at, talking to some doctors, would I need to potentially have surgery? And I decided, hey, let's check out QC Kinetics. I go in there and they look at the knee. Hey, here's the program that we can put you through.
That treatment takes your body's own healing properties and concentrates them at the root of the pain. No surgery or downtime.
The best part was there's no recovery until one day I felt like, hey, this feels like my old self again. I feel better. It's helped me. It's helped my dad. Hopefully it will help you in the same way. My message to them is do not wait. So you can go out and play golf and do the things that you love and enjoy.
Take it from Bobby Carpenter. Call QC Kinetics now for your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 816-412-6299. That's 816-412-6299. 816-412-6299.
Buckle up and hang on. This is going to be a good one.
The fans of Kansas Speedway know how to have a good time. One that celebrates fantastic finishes.
Crash together. So close.
And family-friendly facilities. Trading paint.
We got feuding.
And tailgating tradition. Burnouts. Beer. And barbecue. Oh, it'll for sure be a good time. And you are all invited. NASCAR weekend at Kansas Speedway, May 9th through the 11th. Get your tickets now at kansasspeedway.com.
Hi, Mia here at the winnings desk of the Missouri Lottery. So, I wanted to write a thank you note for every dollar Missouri Lottery players have given to Missouri and education. But that would be 8.4 billion notes. So to save a little time and a whole lot of paper, here's just one. Dear every single lottery player in Missouri, thank you for helping us give $8.4 billion to Missouri and education. Sorry, my trumpet's in the shop. The Missouri Lottery. Winners welcome and play responsibly.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6812. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com
or call 800-575-6812. That's 800-575-6812.
Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
If you've been tired of being out in the bad weather or you're just looking for a more stable industry, our friends over at Centric can offer that to you.
What's great is they allow you to work through your schedule. You still need to have the income coming in from your current job while looking ahead to your new career. They have in-person classes, virtual classes. They can get you trained when it's best for you.
Make it easy. Call our buddy Russ Mondry. He's been with Centric for over 16 years and will guide you through every step of the process. If you're looking for that new career, wait no longer. Go to Centric.com.
Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Some minor braking into downtown, northbound 35, northbound 71, and up right when you get to the Bond Bridge, just a little bit more slowing. Also seeing some brake lights out of eastbound 70 in the 435 exchange. I'm Lori Pearson, 96.5, The Fan Traffic.
Hey, it's Lucas Ursig from the Kansas City Royals. You're listening to The Drive with C-Dot on 96.5 The Fan.
All right, earlier today on the show, we had Matt Miller on the show. He is one of my favorite draft people. It has truly been cool to see him rise and come up, and he does fantastic work now with ESPN. You can actually catch him on ESPN this weekend. He will be on the Saturday broadcast from rounds 4 to 7. They're also simulcasting that on ABC. Our conversation with Matt Miller starts with, what is the best case scenario for the Chiefs at left tackle?
Will Campbell's going to be gone. Armand Membo's going to be gone. Kelvin Banks is going to be gone. I know, like, this is one of the most overthought players in this year's draft, and it's funny. We're a couple days away. Everybody's scrambling. Like, oh, you know what? He's going to go a lot earlier. He's going to go a lot earlier. I don't think he gets past Miami at 13. And so to your point in the intro there, like, yeah, you can want a left tackle all day. You can need a left tackle all day. These dudes don't just grow on trees. They go early in the draft. Look at the best left tackles in the NFL. Most of them were first-round picks. Very rarely do you find, a guy who's outside of the first round that ends up being good. Jordan Mailata is the only one, and he was a seventh-round pick. Right? He's the only starting left tackle in the NFL that you would say is above average, and it's because he was an international pathway player. The rest of the NFL, left tackle, first-round picks. Most of them are early first-round picks. Deion Dawkins, I would say, another exception, round 2 guy. But for the most part, you got to get him early. I don't see this as a year to where, unless you're willing to get into the top 15, to where you could say, all right, we're getting a long-term left tackle. Otherwise, you're back to what they've done the past several years, which is drafting a project. They've done it in the second and third round. You're drafting a project and hoping they work out, which is exactly what they did last year with Kingsley.
That just feels like such a crapshoot to me, especially at that position, and you just gave the stats. I mean, the odds of you finding your starting left tackle in the third round and him developing just seem so low to me. And with where Kansas City usually selects, it's just never going to be that perfect time to find your left or your right tackle. So that's why I'm looking at this year when you got a little bit of a runway where you were not requiring them to start. This just feels like a good time to kind of take that dive.
I agree with you, especially because you have the extra pick from L'Jarius Sneed. You have that extra pick at 66. The scenario you floated out there, 31, 95, 133, like that's going to get you pretty high. That's a lot of draft capital. It really is. So if you're willing to give that up and say like, okay, like, we're going to give up 3 picks because this is a team that's perennially in the Super Bowl. We're comfortable giving up those picks to go up high. I think that the question is, where are you trying? Like, where can you actually get to? I've heard Dallas is maybe interested in sliding down from 12. I've heard San Francisco is interested for sliding down at 11. But interestingly enough, those are 2 teams that could snipe your guy. San Francisco could take Kelvin Banks and be very happy with it. San Francisco brought in Josh Simmons for visits. Dallas has done a ton of work on offensive linemen in this class, especially guys that could potentially kick inside the guard like Membo, like Banks. So it is tough. And if you're in that group that says, hey, we got to go get a tackle, what you really don't want to have happen is the Jets to take Armand Membo 7, because after that, it's going to get real expensive to come up to the board to get Kelvin Banks.
Can you see a scenario of where any of those guys fall in the draft? Like, is there a possibility that at 31, the Chiefs have a choice, that they could take Joshua Simmons, that they could take Connerly? Or do you think in order to grab that player, they're going to have to move up?
Connerly could be there at 31. And I would say, like, there's a line for me between the other guys and Connerly. He's good, and I think he's a fringe first-round player. So he could be there. And what's interesting about him is he might actually have the best, like, prototypical size and athletic ability for a left tackle. Just the production wasn't always there. He is an ascending player. This dude was a running back in high school. He really only started for 2 years at Oregon. So he is somebody that's still learning. His in-season improvement this year was really, really good, but he is still climbing that ladder a little bit. So he could be there at 31. Josh Simmons is interesting, Carrington. Coming off a patella injury that happened middle of October, people hear knee injury, they think, oh, it's okay. A patella injury is much different than an ACL. It is a full-year injury. It's much more like an Achilles tendon. He is not going to be cleared until August at the earliest. So that is probably a player that you're redshirting. On tape, he is one of the best left tackles in this class. On tape, he might be the best left tackle in this class, but interviews have been very so-so with teams. He was a player who was at the Senior Bowl, not as an invitee, not as a participant. He was at the Senior Bowl on his own dime, meeting with teams, trying to get ahead of some of the, quote-unquote character stuff that comes out about players. So he is a little bit of a gamble. I don't know that the Kansas City Chiefs, given some of the issues as of late with draft picks, are in position to take another first-round gamble on a character player. I personally wouldn't feel comfortable doing that if I was working for Brett Veach, but every team sees this differently.
Right now, we're joined by Matt Miller of ESPN. You can catch him on Saturday's broadcast, rounds 4 through 7. They're also doing a simulcast on ABC. Matt, it seems very likely to me that the Chiefs are going to go line of scrimmage with their first pick. We talked about the offensive side of it. Let's go to the defensive side. Tell me who you like from the D-end perspective, a guy that can get after the quarterback, or if they want to go D-tackle and put somebody next to Chris Jones, who are some possible options at 31?
Yeah, it's a good defensive end class. I have 6 guys with a round 1 grade. I think the issue, again, for Kansas City is 5 of them are going to be gone by the time you come on the board. Abdul Carter's gone. Jalen Walker's long gone. Shamar Stewart, Mike Green, Mike Williams. I think those guys are long, long gone. Donovan Ezraku from Boston College could be there. He is not a Steve Spagnuolo guy because he's light. He does have good length. He has really good speed. But I think from a body type perspective, looking at him, the way that he needs to add some power to his game, 6'2.5", 248 pounds, even with 34-inch arm length, which Spags loves, 6'2.5", 250 is not getting it done for Steve Spagnuolo unless he's really changed his philosophy after watching Nolan Smith in the Super Bowl. So he's a player that could be there at 31. I don't think he's a great scheme fit. I look at the defensive tackle class and think this might be the spot. The Mason Graham from Michigan is going to be gone. I think Walter Nolan from Ole Miss is probably gone. He's the best pass rushing defensive tackle in the class. If you could play him next to Chris Jones, that'd be amazing. He's probably gone. Derek Harmon from Oregon, a ton of upside. Kenneth Grant from Michigan, more of a one technique nose tackle type, but with a lot of athletic ability. I think Harmon and Grant are the 2 guys that could realistically be there at 31.
Where do you think the best potential value is? Because you've mentioned some of those offensive lineman candidates that could potentially be off the board. You also mentioned about pass rusher. People love this DN class. Veach likes this DN class. Those guys might not be there as well. Let's say the Chiefs are really thinking best player available. We're not going to pigeonhole ourselves for need. We're really going to go BPA, best player available. Who do you think that could be? What position group do you think it could come from?
Yeah, I mean, we could be looking at a wide receiver, depending on what happens early. It could be a player like Luther Burden from Missouri. It could be Emeka Egbuka from Ohio State. I think you could realistically be looking at Maxwell Harrison, the corner from Kentucky, or Malachi Starks, the safety from Georgia. So the thing about this class is it's so flat. Like the player that you have ranked 12 and the player you have ranked 40 are kind of the same. And so that's where it gets tricky. If, I rank guys 1 through 600, but what happened this year was player 11 and player, 35 are kind of the same dude, really. So it is very flat in that regard, which makes, best player available is very much open to interpretation. Like I would love for Trey Amos, the corner from Ole Miss, to be there. You talk to some teams, they think he goes early 20s. You talk to others, they think he goes middle of the second round. So it's hard to find that consensus this year.
You have been one of the few people in the national media that have been carrying the flag for Luther Burden. I've watched a lot of Luther Burden even back when he was at East St. Louis. He is absolutely electric with the football. I do think that people are overthinking it a little bit. Maybe he's not the prospect that he was heading into his junior year, but now there's a chance he could not be a first-round pick. People are overthinking a very special player in my mind.
Happens every year, man. And you and I have known each other a long time. I really committed this season to not buying into the BS. If I'm not going to get caught up in a 40 time that doesn't translate to tape, I'm not going to get caught up in a lack of production that's out of your control. And I'm not going to get caught up in production that wasn't generated in real football terms. So with Luther Burden, the numbers slipped this year. The offense wasn't as good. The play calling wasn't as good. Brady Cook got hurt. The run game wasn't as good. It's a lot of reasons. Now, some of that on Luther. Did he maybe throttle down and make some business decisions once he realized that he wasn't going to get those Heisman numbers? I think that's absolutely possible. Can he throttle back up when he's getting paid millions of dollars in the NFL? And I think that's an easy thing to do, is to get a guy to level back up, because you've seen him do it before. Some do as a freshman, some do as a sophomore. I've been around that program a ton. I've talked to his coaches, position and head. I don't get it. I think he and Kelvin Banks are the 2 guys in this class where it's just like we almost over-evaluate people, or we get fatigued because they've been good for so long. It happened to Nick Bosa. Like it happened to Myles Garrett. It happened to Derek Stingley Jr. Like people just get tired of talking about players, so we start to over-evaluate them. and Luther is absolutely the poster boy for that this year.
Sometimes I think people think that explosive plays come from play design. No, they come from having explosive weapons around you. And last year you alluded to it with the running back room, and they obviously had injuries when it came to wide receiver. I mean, I would love for them to take Burden if he fell, or Emeka Egbuka if he fell in the draft. I would love for them to go that way at 31, but I'm thinking just based on how they usually draft that they're probably going somewhere on the line of scrimmage.
I'm with you. I would love for it to be Luther Burden. I'd be happy with a tight end, like a Mason Taylor at that spot. I'd be happy with a speedy edge rusher. But when we get back to how this team normally drafts, I'm with you. It's probably going to be a defensive lineman, probably going to be a defensive tackle, unless one of those offensive tackles falls. But, I don't know, man. Last time they lost the Super Bowl, they got aggressive, and a lot changed in a hurry. And we didn't see that through free agency. So maybe we see it in the draft, with 4 picks in the top 95. Maybe we see some aggressive movement. I had heard 2 weeks ago that they were at least interested in moving up. The last time they were interested in moving up was the Rashee Rice draft, when no one would trade with them when they wanted to move up. So we will see what happens.
If you want to hear the entire interview, be sure to check it out. Matt Miller, one of the absolute best in the business. We'll react on the other side. Keep it right here. It's The Drive on 96.5 The Fan.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
At Fisher Investments, we may seem like other money managers, but we're different.
Are you really that different than the rest of us?
We are. As a fiduciary, we always focus on what's best for our clients.
What services do you offer besides investing?
We have a team of specialists in financial planning, estate planning, and more.
Your clients rely on you for all that?
Yes, we ensure clients receive unparalleled service at every step of the relationship.
Okay, but you still sell commission-based products, right?
No, because we believe that's a conflict of interest. We prioritize service over sales goals.
So, then how do your fees work?
We have a simple and transparent fee that's a percentage of our clients' portfolios. So we do better when our clients do better.
Wow, we're more different than I thought.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at fisherinvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
You ever try fixing your car and realize you're missing that one part? Yeah, been there. That's why eBay's my go-to. They've got millions of parts, guaranteed to fit. I'm talking brake pads for when yours have seen one too many miles of stop and go. Oil filters, cause you don't mess around with your engine care. Even got this cold air intake on my watch list. I might just go for it. To keep the ride cool and your DIY streak hot. Find all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. eBay. Things people love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
I'm sure everyone says this, but my mom really deserves the world. This year, I finally found a Mother's Day gift that comes close. She loves Hellsberg, so I'm getting her these timeless gold earrings she can enjoy for years to come. They feel special enough to show how much I truly appreciate everything she does for me. And I mean everything. I even sent my dad a link to the Diamond Eternity band he'll be getting her, too.
Save up to 50% on Mother's Day gifts Mom will cherish forever. Visit Hellsberg.com or a store near you.
BetMGM is making your next golf tournament winner bets more exciting with Second Chance. What's Second Chance? Ever bet on your favorite golfer to win a tournament only to see them miss the green? Well, with BetMGM's Second Chance promotion, you'll get your stake back in cash if your tournament winner bet finishes in second instead. That's right. Simply bet on any player to win a scheduled golf tournament during a promotional week. If you're right, you win. But if your pick finishes in second instead of first, you get your stake back in cash. Watch your favorite players go for the win all season long and bet knowing you'll get your stake back if they finish second. Log in today and make your picks with confidence with BetMGM. BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsibly. See BetMGM.com for terms. 21 plus only. Kansas only. Existing customer offer. Subject to eligibility requirements. Rewards paid back in unrestricted withdrawable funds. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel.
As men get older, our bodies change. We all know that. And often, we just accept the changes as the way it is. But some of those changes, such as bad sleep patterns, low sex drive, brain fog, no energy, and reduced gains in the gym, could be due to low testosterone. And that is something you can change. This is Jeff for Heartland Men's Health. And even if you're in your 30s, if you're experiencing some or all of the symptoms I just noted, you very well may need low testosterone treatment. With our treatment protocols, if you're like most men, you'll be amazed at the change. You'll have more energy, improved mental clarity, your sleep will be better, so will your workouts, and you'll likely find that your sex drive increases too. So give us a call today and make the change for good. Your initial visit is just $99 and includes blood work and a medical consult. And if you start on treatment the day of your appointment, your visit is free. Call 844-447-6600. That's 844-447-6600. Or go to heartlandmenshealth.com. We have 3 offices to serve you. Heartland Men's Health, a Promenic restorative health practice.
At Fisher Investments, we may seem like other money managers, but we're different.
Are you really that different than the rest of us?
We are. As a fiduciary, we always focus on what's best for our clients.
What services do you offer besides investing?
We have a team of specialists in financial planning, estate planning, and more.
Your clients rely on you for all that?
Yes, we ensure clients receive unparalleled service at every step of the relationship.
Okay, but you still sell commission-based products, right?
No, because we believe that's a conflict of interest. We prioritize service over sales goals.
So, then how do your fees work?
We have a simple and transparent fee that's a percentage of our clients' portfolios. So we do better when our clients do better.
Wow, we're more different than I thought.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at fisherinvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
This report is brought to you by Surfside Iced Tea and Vodka in Surfside Lemonade and Vodka. Surfside Iced Tea and Vodka in Surfside Lemonade and Vodka. Proud partner of the Kansas City Royals. Each can of Surfside is only 100 calories. And the best part, 0 bubbles. Grab it at the K or ask for it at your favorite bars and liquor stores.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios. Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Only a few slowdowns on your Easter Monday. We've got the northbound lanes of 435 from about 87th Street down to K10. And traffic actually easing up eastbound 70 out of the 435 exchange. I'm Lori Pearson, 96.5, The Fan Traffic.
You're listening to The Drive with Carrington Harrison on 96.5 The Fan and the Odyssey app.
Welcome back onto the show. My name is Carrington Harrison. Very excited to be here with you on this wonderful, wonderful Monday. The Royals are off today. We have 2 NBA playoff games. We have the Knicks and the Pistons. And later today, we have the Clippers and the Nuggets. The Nuggets won game 1. The Clippers looking to tie it back up at 2 games or a game apiece in game 2. I am looking forward to that game. Looking forward to that series. Actually, I think that's the most intriguing round 1 series. I guess maybe it might be Lakers and Timberwolves. We'll see what happens between those 2 teams. Let's talk about the draft a little bit before we hand things off. There was a story on ESPN about the Chiefs trading up and what that could potentially look like. It would include their 31st overall pick. It would include one of their 3rd round picks, the 2nd one, and a future 4th round pick. I am in favor of them trading up in the draft. I understand that this draft doesn't have the high-end offensive tackle quality that maybe people want, but I think we have to be realistic in where the Chiefs select. And I don't think that there is usually going to be a guy that's a day 1 starter with clean medicals that is just sitting there at 31. That's usually not how it goes. And I'm looking at Joshua Simmons, and he seems like a prospect that makes a lot of sense for Kansas City. He was a highly touted left tackle. He broke his knee this year and is recovering. And this is a year in which you could have his rehab and his development be slow. He's not playing this year, at least not early. Jawan Taylor is your right tackle. Jalen Moore is your left tackle, and you will go from there. I think the Chiefs are in a very unique position where they can redshirt an offensive lineman and prepare him for 2026 to be an every down starter for you, whether that's at left tackle or at right tackle when you replace Jawan Taylor. So I'm going to be really intrigued to hear if the Chiefs are in the middle of any rumors. Probably not. They pick at 31. That's normally not where the information comes from, but we got to see how the board falls. We can play this game out, who's there, who's not there. I think we know realistically who are the offensive tackles that they would take, who are the pass rushers they could potentially take, and I think there's a couple of wide receivers that could at least make things interesting if they want to try to give another weapon to Patrick Mahomes. We had a lot of fun today. Check out the podcast page, 913-586-7965. We're ending things off the Bink next, right?
Character Concerns with Bink and Uno Cero.
Absolutely. Character Concerns podcast. We will be back tomorrow. Take care of yourself. It's The Drive.
Hey, it's Cole Reagans from the Kansas City Royals. You're listening to The Drive with C-Dot on 96.5 The Fan.
Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM